Chapter 2945. The Nine Heavens of Qing Province. Previously, he was confident that Lin Ling wouldn't be able to obtain any treasures, so he spoke arrogantly. However, Lin Ling had succeeded. With his strength, he actually lost to Lin Ling. This made him feel disbelief. All right, you don't have to put on an act. Reveal your true form. Be careful not to embarrass yourself in front of me, Lin Ling. Lin Ling put away the Son of Heaven's mandate and looked at the old man indifferently. These words shocked the old man once again because Lin Ling was too calm. Facing such a strong opponent, he didn't panic at all. How did you see through it? The old man said with a frown. Although I don't know what kind of cultivation technique you've cultivated to change your appearance and aura, but please, if you want to put on an act, let's go all the way. Don't you think you've revealed a huge flaw? Lin Ling said with a smile. Flaw? Could it be that you've seen through my cultivation technique? You're thinking too much. It's your hand. An old man like you, whose hand would be as white as jade. When Lin Ling's last sentence fell, the old man's entire body trembled. Only then did he realize that he had indeed overlooked this huge flaw. Sometimes the simpler something is, the easier it is to forget. A true ancient martial artist shouldn't make such a small mistake, so I estimate that you shouldn't be that old. Lin Ling said again. His words were like a sword, piercing straight into the old man's heart. Let me guess again. You're not that old, but you have such strength. There are definitely not many people in Qing province. Apart from the people I don't know, the only people I know are the remaining 4 heavens. You should be one of the 4 most mysterious people in Qing province. Lin Ling's words didn't stop until they shocked the old man to death. The old man was stunned, as if he had been struck by thunder. Hee, I've long heard of Lin Ling's great name. Seeing you today, you're indeed extraordinary. After being exposed by Lin Ling, the old man no longer hid his identity. It was as if he had shed off a layer of skin. Then, a bright light shone and a slender figure walked out from it. This was actually a rare beauty. She looked to be around 20 years old and wore a pink palace dress with hundreds of flowers. Between her thin clothes, her twin peaks were full, and her limpid eyes seemed to be able to see through everything in the world. No matter how one looked at it, she was a beauty that could captivate even birds and beasts. Wow, I didn't expect this expert to be so beautiful. The 76th prince could not help but speak. Pah! However, in the next moment, the crisp sound of a slap resounded across his face. It was that woman. You hit me? The 76th prince immediately roared. Hee, 76th prince, if you keep talking nonsense, I might even kill you. The woman smiled, but her words were extremely cold. The 76th prince did not dare to speak again. He sensed a familiar aura from that woman. It was the Azure Thearcha's aura. The woman smiled at Lin Ling and was about to speak, but at that moment, another person arrived at the crossroad. When she saw everyone, her expression changed slightly. Your Excellency Lin Ling. The person took the lead to greet Lin Ling. She was the 3rd princess. Of course, she looked more at the woman and finally said solemnly, Imperial concubine sure of the 9 heavens of Qingzhou? 3rd princess, long time no see. The woman smiled and nodded. She obviously knew the 3rd princess. Imperial concubine sure? She's Imperial concubine sure? The 76th prince was stunned. Then, his face was filled with horror. The old monsters next to him also opened their mouths wide. Imperial concubine Sure is rumored to be the most beautiful fairy in Qingzhou. She is also the most beautiful woman in the world of mortals. She is proficient in the 4 arts of zither, chess, calligraphy, and painting. She once made the Azure the Arch forget to return. Someone exclaimed. Imperial concubine Sure was a very mysterious person. No one knew where she came from. However, some people knew that she opened a brothel in Qingzhou called Xueqi Poetry House. Many indomitable experts of Qingzhou went there because of its reputation, including the Azure the Arch. Ordinary experts were also curious about Xueqi Poetry House. However, after searching for thousands of years, they could not find that brothel. The famous imperial concubine Sure has also entered the 8 gods' heavenly palace. Then, your pursuer, the heavenly court's absolute killer tiger, should be here as well. The 3rd princess said with a faint smile after calming down. Him? I don't know. Maybe he didn't come. Or maybe he is hiding among the big shots. Xueqi covered her mouth and smiled. Her gentle movements carried an aura that could topple cities. Her full chest emitted a strange light, causing the blood of the surrounding old monsters to boil. Some of the weaker middle-aged men even began to bleed from their 7 orifices. This imperial concubine Xue was simply a peerless enchantress. Lin Ling's eyes flickered. He realized that imperial concubine Xue's talent was very mysterious. It was mixed with a kind of seduction technique. This kind of seduction technique was the best among all seduction techniques. It was as if it was left behind by a god. It had to be said that Lin Ling also admitted that imperial concubine Xue was a peerless enchantress. Lin Ling, how about another round? Take out another treasure and try. Imperial concubine Xue was obviously not interested in the people around her. Instead, she was very interested in Lin Ling. When her words fell, the third princess's expression changed slightly. She did not expect imperial concubine Xue to provoke Lin Ling. The others were the same. They were secretly shocked. If imperial concubine Xue did not announce her identity, they would think that Lin Ling would definitely win. However, after knowing that imperial concubine Xue was one of the foremost mysterious of the 9 heavens of Qingzhou, they knew that the current Lin Ling could not compare to her. One had to know that the foremost mysterious of the 9 heavens of Qingzhou were people that even Emperor Qing had to give face to. The third princess was just about to remind Lin Ling to ignore imperial concubine Xue, but Lin Ling had already spoken. He said very matter-of-factly, "Isn't this a very simple matter?" The attitude of his words was as simple as eating. At this moment, everyone was stunned. Even imperial concubine Xue was the same. She could not help but laugh. What if you fail? Gamble? Sorry, I'm really not interested. However, I never thought that I would fail. Lin Ling said with a smile. Although his smile was calm, it was mixed with a domineering aura. Ignorant, trash, what do you know? When the 76th prince heard Lin Ling's words, he immediately cursed angrily. In his opinion, although Lin Ling was powerful, if he wanted to compete with imperial concubine Xue, he was simply overestimating himself and seeking death. I've suddenly changed my mind. If I win, all the treasures will belong to me. If I lose, the treasures will belong to you. You can do whatever you want with me. Of course, the premise is that you have to give that guy 3 slaps first. Lin Ling suddenly laughed and looked at imperial concubine Xue as he spoke. It seems that I've taken advantage of you. Not only do I get the treasures, but I also get you. I, imperial concubine Xue, agree. Hearing this, imperial concubine Xue was stunned. She smiled beautifully, but she also secretly admired Lin Ling's courage. Slap, slap, slap. 3 slaps landed on the 76th prince's face. No one could see imperial concubine Xue's move. They could only see the 76th prince's ugly face as if he had eaten dog shit. 76th prince, how many times have you been slapped? In front of me, Lin Ling. You can only be slapped in the face forever. Chapter 2946. Defeating you is as simple as eating. I'm ready to make my move. At this moment, Lin Ling also spoke. You're reminding me? Xueqi was stunned. With her strength, Lin Ling actually reminded her? Even the third princess, Meng Lu, and the others sucked in a breath of cold air. There was no doubt about the strength of the 4 most mysterious people of the 9 heavens of Qing province. Lin Ling was gambling with such an expert, and he actually reminded her. For fairness. Lin Ling shrugged. However, this sentence was even more shocking. Fairness? He was already at a disadvantage in the gambling with Xueqi, and he was actually doing it for fairness? At this moment, no one knew what Lin Ling was planning. However, before everyone could recover from their shock, Lin Ling had already made his move. His goal this time was to obtain the treasure in the treasure chest again. And Xueqi was obviously going to stop him. Xueqi seemed to be at the 4th level of the martial immortal realm, but she was definitely not as simple as she looked. At this moment, the third princess was worried for Lin Ling because even she did not have the confidence to win against Xueqi. 20 worlds of speed. Amazing. Xueqi stood there like a flower and did not act rashly. Instead, she was paying attention to Lin Ling's speed. Although Lin Ling's speed was terrifying, it was obviously not enough to enter her eyes. Because she had a speed faster than Lin Ling. You'll be defeated in 3 breaths, because I'm also going to make my move. Shufei's Hongyan mouth moved slightly as she reminded. Sir Linling, be careful. Hearing this, the third princess was the first to worry for Linling, afraid that Linling would not be able to block a single move from Shufei. So strong. Is this the most terrifying and mysterious genius of Qing province? Meng Lu felt a rolling pressure. He found that on the other side of the tombstone, the heaven and earth were frozen, forming a mysterious domain. This seemed to be the ultimate martial Dao, and it was a complete Dao. At this moment, Shufei made her move. Her soft and boneless palm gently slapped out. The sun, moon, stars, spring, summer, autumn, and winter, the great Tao of the universe seemed to be shattered by her. Above the power of the universe, the rank of bravery. The third princess exclaimed. The power of the universe, that was the power of the chaos of the universe. It was extremely terrifying. However, according to legend, there was another power above it. It was the rank power left behind by the title of God. This power. It was from God. It was extremely terrifying and could shatter any power of the universe. One was the universe, and the other was God. From another point of view, the power of one's grade was the result of the fusion of the essence of a martial artist's strength and the power of the universe. For example, the power of the universe. This was the power to control the chaos of the universe. But there were millions upon millions of chaos powers in the universe. It was impossible for a martial artist to control all of them. This would instead cause them to be less proficient, which was why there were ranks. For example, if Linling were to comprehend a rank, that would be the rank of fire. A light palm landed on Linling's body, and a yellow light appeared on Linling's body. It was brilliant and ancient. Of you. Shufei spoke at the same time. Not necessarily. However, Linling's words made Shufei's beautiful eyes narrow. With her palm, no one in the late stage of the martial immortal realm could block it. But Linling blocked it? Linling was only at the first stage of the martial immortal realm. How could this be? Then, she found that there was a yellow light on Linling's body. It was extremely ancient and seemed to be condensed by millions of Emperor Qi. Emperor Qi was also a kind of son of heaven's fate. It had the power of the emperor. So you have a secret treasure on you. Shufei suddenly thought of something. She kept waving her arms like a blooming flower. Bang, bang. Palm after palm, mixed with the great Tao of the universe, fell on Linling's body. Your Excellency Linling. That terrifying killing move caused the third princess and the others to shout out loud. However, after shouting, they found that Linling was still safe and sound. Instead, he smiled and said, Shufei? The #1 beauty in Qingzhou? If you touch me like this, I'll sue you for taking advantage of me. As soon as his voice fell, everyone was flabbergasted. Facing such a terrifying attack from Shufei, Linling could still joke? Even Shufei clenched her teeth. Even the Azure Emperor did not dare to joke with her, but Linling dared? The effect of the treasure on you is starting to weaken. Let's see how you block it. Shufei's eyes became ferocious and she slapped out again. Indeed, the yellow light on Linling's body dimmed. However, just as Shufei thought that she could kill Linling this time, Linling suddenly disappeared. That's right, in her eyes, he had mysteriously disappeared. This sudden change stunned Shufei. By the time she reacted, Linling was already standing beside the third princess in the distance, holding the essence of the Son of Heaven's fate in his hand and shaking it gently. Sorry, I won again. The third princess was stunned. Meng Lu was stunned. Even the 76th prince was the same. Linling won? How did he win? Shufei seemed to be in a daze as she stared at Linling. Especially the Son of Heaven's fate in Linling's hand. It was swaying as if it was mocking her. Sorry, beating you is really as easy as eating. While she was in a daze, Linling spoke faintly. In fact, in order to avoid Shufei's last attack, Linling had used the green jade token and increased his speed by 50 boundaries. Shufei naturally could not react to this sudden burst of speed. Eating is as easy as eating? Hearing Linling's casual words, Shufei almost went hysterical. She no longer looked like the #1 beauty in Qingzhou. She was one of the 9 heavens of Qingzhou, someone that even the Azure Emperor did not dare to underestimate. She had actually lost to Linling? Most importantly, he had said that beating her was as easy as eating. Third princess, go and collect the treasures. At this moment, Linling spoke again. Linling, tell me, how did you avoid my attack just now? With your strength, It's absolutely impossible. Xueqi did not stop the third princess but looked at Lin Ling. She really could not figure it out. I really don't want to talk about such a simple thing again. However, Lin Ling shook his head faintly. His words almost made Xueqi vomit blood. Her beautiful eyes were full of murderous intent. All right, the bet is over. Goodbye. Lin Ling spoke casually when he saw that the third princess had collected all the treasures. You want to leave? The 76th prince immediately roared. Lin Ling had taken advantage of all of them. Did he really think he could leave just like that? Xueqi was even more unlikely to let Lin Ling leave. Her eyes became extremely cold. If I, Lin Ling, want to leave, no one can stop me. However, Lin Ling had already strode forward, fearless and fearless. At the same time, the sound of a dragon's roar came from the sky. Countless ancient dragons swept across the land, causing the entire dragon palace to shake. This sudden change caused everyone's expression to change drastically. Dragon's soul. They had discovered this taboo after entering the resuscitating dragon palace. There seemed to be many dragon souls in this dragon palace. They could not be destroyed unless they were killed. And this time, the number of dragon souls was clearly much more than what they had seen in the past. Even Xueqi's pretty face was extremely serious. Without waiting for the dragon souls to fly down from the sky, she had already left the place. Chapter 2947. The Power of Rank. Who was Xueqi? She was someone who had talked to Qing Diyi before. With her strength, she was the strongest person present. Only the leader of the giants in Qing province could fight against her. Originally, all the treasure should have belonged to her and Lin Ling should have been killed by her. However, she didn't do anything and could only watch as Lin Ling returned with a full load. Most importantly, after Lin Ling defeated her, he didn't show any joy or excitement. His reaction was very calm, as if defeating her, Xueqi, was actually a very simple matter. Lin Ling, you're lucky this time. Next time, I'll definitely kill you. Kill. Holding endless resentment, Xueqi also disappeared from the main road. She came to kill Lin Ling because she was ordered to do so by some expert. At that moment, Lin Ling also sped up because he had noticed the changes in the sky from the very beginning. This made him guess that in the Dragon Palace, the world essence that erupted from the battle between cultivators could alarm the dragon souls. Moreover, the deeper he went, the more dragon souls there were. Thinking of that, he turned around and saw that the third princess and the others had caught up. There were many people at the intersection earlier. The third princess and the others had used those people to attract the dragon souls and escaped. Your Excellency Lin Ling. Looking back, the third princess and the others still had lingering fear in their hearts. Then, they looked at Lin Ling and smiled. I didn't expect Lin Ling to be able to defeat Xueqi. Truly amazing. Lord 8th said excitedly. The current Lin Ling was probably even stronger than him. Although he was a middle-stage martial immortal, in terms of talent and ultimate martial path, he wasn't very strong. The reason why he could become one of the giants in Qing province was because of his enormous world essence. In terms of world essence, Lin Ling was obviously not afraid of middle-stage martial immortals. In fact, he was one of the best among them. This made Lord 8th sigh. The first time he saw Lin Ling in the past was at Lin Ling's market. At that time, Lin Ling was still very young, but now, his wings were full. With just a move of his feet in Qing province would change. I didn't expect the four most mysterious people of the 9 heavens of Qing province to be so powerful. Meng Lu, on the other hand, was recalling the scene of Xueqi's attack. His expression was solemn as he said, rank. This is the fusion of the power of the universe and one's innate talent. There are no more than 5 people in Qing province who have grasped this power, and Xueqi is the youngest one. That's right. I've seen Xueqi before. She gave me a very mysterious feeling. I didn't expect her to have the power of a rank. The third princess also said. From what I see, she's only powerful in terms of rank strength. Her talent isn't even at the desolate body level. If you can sense rank strength, she's only, Lin Ling said with a smile. What he said was very simple. However, everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. They didn't think it was simple because rank strength was the foundation of fighting those of a higher level. Xueqi might even be able to defeat an ordinary 9th stage martial immortal. Rank strength isn't as mysterious as you say. In the 9 provinces, There are many people who possess this power. Lin Ling recalled Li Xiaoyao's time. At that time, he had swept through the geniuses of the 9 provinces and was called the most mysterious genius in the universe by the 9 provinces. Therefore, he didn't think that possessing rank strength was that amazing. He, Lin Ling, had only cultivated for a short period of time. If he was given some more time, he would also be able to comprehend the rank of the fire element. Furthermore, he was still very weak in the past. After reaching the martial immortal realm, the arrogance of Li Xiaoyao of the past had quietly awakened. Wake Dragon Palace. We can only move forward and not retreat. That's because retreating will attract even more dragon souls. Everyone, let's continue forward. Third Princess, take out the treasures you obtained earlier. I, Lin Ling, want to be the first to choose. Lin Ling looked at the third princess and said. The third princess smiled and nodded. Your Excellency Lin Ling, these treasures were obtained by you alone. There's no problem for you to take all of them. There's no need for that. After all, not all treasures are useful to me. For example, the Son of Heaven's mandate. Lin Ling waved his hand and said, Third Princess, you've obtained quite a few Son of Heaven's mandates. Perhaps, the Imperial Jade Seal fragments that you possess will also change. Furthermore, in this trip to the Wake Dragon Palace, there are definitely quite a few people who have obtained great fortune. After everyone leaves, the Azure Province will definitely be in turmoil. Your Excellency Lin Ling, you're right. Hearing that, the third princess's expression became serious. There were so many paths to the Wake Dragon Palace. The others must have also obtained great treasures. Perhaps, a new 9 great heavens would be born. However, the Wake Dragon Palace is also the end. With everyone's strength, I'm afraid that we won't be able to enter the 5th level of the 8 gods' heavenly palace. Lin Ling said again. Is this the end of our journey? Regarding this, Meng Lu and the others were somewhat dissatisfied. However, they were extremely confident in Lin Ling's words. Therefore, they could only give up on exploring. As for Lin Ling, he was searching for treasures. Unfortunately, although there were many treasures here, they were not of much help to Lin Ling. They could not even compare to the 3 jade tokens from before. Unfortunately, there was only 1 jade token left. I want the royal crystals. You can divide the rest among yourselves. In the end, Lin Ling collected all the royal crystals and planned to use them to break through to the next level. Your Excellency Lin Ling, we've also obtained many treasures along the way. The royal crystals are all yours. The third princess pondered for a moment and hurriedly took out a large number of royal crystals. The others also understood that since they had divided all the treasures, they would definitely hand over their own royal crystals. They would treat it as using royal crystals to purchase those treasures. Thank you so much. Seeing a large number of royal crystals appear, Lin Ling could not help but be overjoyed. Next, the group continued on their journey. Along the way, Lin Ling said, Soon, there will be a crossroad. I will guide you to which path to take. There are also countless treasures there. However, I will have to part ways with you. Second brother, you're going to take another path? Hearing this, Sakura frowned and asked worriedly. Big brother, don't worry. The path I'm going to is the most mysterious place in Resuscitate Dragon Palace. The place you're going to has great fortune and countless treasures. The lowest grade is an extreme weapon. There may even be the Emperor's life essence or even the talents from the era of deities. Lin Ling patted Sakura's shoulder and said. Hearing this, the group was tempted. For Lin Ling to regard such treasures as treasures, they would definitely be extraordinary. Along the way, everyone was talking and laughing. Compared to the other giants who were nervous, they were obviously more relaxed. The reason was that Lin Ling was there. Save me, save me. There are many dragon souls in front. Not knowing how long they had been walking, an anxious shout suddenly came from the front. It was 3 good-looking ladies. They were wearing clothes of different colors and looked very charming. These women were not weak at all. They must be the magnates of the various forces. While they were running in front, behind them was billowing murderous aura. Several blood dragons were rolling in the air. It was extremely terrifying. Seeing this, Lin Ling frowned. The eyes of the third princess and the others were flickering. Sakura pondered for a moment and shouted, Hurry up, it will be too late. Chapter 29:48. The power of a glance. Sakura had a tyrannical personality and was decisive in killing, but he never bullied the weak. When he saw someone who wasn't strong enough, he would definitely draw his blade to help. Thank you. Thank you. Those few women couldn't help but be overjoyed, and their speed also increased by a bit. Sakura passed by them and transformed into a huge white skeleton to fight against the dragon souls in the sky. Sakura, I'll help you. Seeing this, Lord 8th and Meng Lu also joined the battlefield, erupting with all their strength to resist the several blood dragons in the sky. And these dragon souls were extremely powerful, not fearing any realm essence attacks. If they wanted to resist, they could only resist with their lives. Fortunately, we met them, otherwise we're dead for sure. These dragon souls are too terrifying, we can't kill them at all. Stop the dragon souls, don't let them come over. And seeing Sakura and the rest desperately block the dragon souls, the beautiful woman in the upper position also slowed down. While recovering her realm essence, she kept saying, "Ka ka ka." Sakura was blocking the dragon's soul at the forefront. His white skeleton was also cracked from the impact, but he was still blocking the front of the road like a war god. As for Meng Lu and Lord 8th, their faces also started to pale, resisting with great difficulty. Stop the dragon souls, who told you to retreat step by step. If the dragon souls come over, we'll all die. Seeing Sakura and the rest constantly retreating, the three women all frowned and said, "What trash?" One of the women even cussed softly. Although this voice was soft, it was clearly heard by Lin Ling, and his face immediately became ugly. His big brother tried his best to help others, but not only were these three women not grateful, they even despised Sakura for being trash. Could it be that his big brother owed them? Big brother, ignore those dragon souls, come over immediately. Lin Ling's eyes turned cold as he shouted to the front. What are you doing? If they retreat, those dragon souls will rush over. Hearing Lin Ling's words, one of the tall women immediately reprimanded. If they don't retreat, they'll be in danger. Killing intent appeared in the depths of Lin Ling's eyes as he coldly replied. Facing the dragon soul is dangerous to begin with. Do you think Awakening Dragon Palace is your home? If you want to be safe, you can just hide at home. Why do you have to come out and roam the world? Moreover, in a martial artist's life, they have to cut through all kinds of hardships. If they fear danger, what is the point of talking about martial arts? If they retire, are they still men? She looked at Lin Ling mockingly and said, I can see that you are also a man. Unfortunately, they are much more courageous than you. You only dare to hide behind them and gossip. How ugly! What nonsense are you talking about? As soon as the woman finished speaking, the third princess couldn't help but speak up. These three women were too self-righteous. Obviously, they were the ones who provoked the dragon soul, but now they were blaming it on Sakura. He was kind enough to help, but the three of them actually disliked him. Could it be that Sakura must help them? You are? Third princess? Only then did the three women realize that the person beside them was the third princess. Their expressions changed slightly. Then, they smiled because they knew that the third princess, the daughter of Emperor Qing, was extremely powerful. Third princess, it's good that you're here. Please block those dragon souls. Those three men are too useless. They're completely useless. No need, I'll do it. But at this moment, Lin Ling coldly spat out a sentence. You're too weak. However, the three women didn't put Lin Ling in their eyes at all. Their words were filled with disdain. Don't underestimate him. He's Lin Ling of the imperial court. The third princess didn't want Lin Ling to be looked down upon, so she spoke coldly. Her words stunned the three women on the spot. Then they laughed. Lin Ling of the 9 heavens of Qingzhou. So you're Lin Ling. That's great. With you around, there will definitely be a way. They didn't expect to meet these legendary powerhouses at the end of their road. One of the petite women even said happily, Lin Ling, among the 9 heavens of Qingzhou, I admire you the most. Hearing those words, Lin Ling sneered. He didn't say anything and stepped forward. Big brother, 8th Lord, Meng Lu, step back. I'll block these dragon souls. His voice floated out, causing Sakura and the others to frown. They seemed to be worried about Lin Ling fighting the blood dragons alone. Don't you believe me? Seeing Sakura and the others, Lin Ling's heart warmed. Sure enough, his own people were still trustworthy. Alright, Second brother, be careful. Lin Ling, if you can't block them, will immediately come to help. Now, let's recover our Jieyuan. Sakura and Meng Lu pondered for a moment and spoke one after another. Right now, they were indeed exhausted. The three of them hurriedly retreated, allowing Lin Ling to block the blood dragons in the sky alone. Wake up, Dragon Palace. Is the dragon god here? Lin Ling walked past Sakura and the others. His blue robe fluttered, his hands behind his back, and he looked indifferently at the huge blood dragons in the sky. Roar! The blood dragons in the sky didn't answer his words. Instead, they roared continuously, causing the sound of thunder to come from afar. The wind and clouds rolled, and the aura of destruction came like a wave. More and more blood dragons rushed over, hovering in the sky as if they wanted to devour everything. Seeing this scene, everyone's expression changed drastically. There were actually more dragon souls? Why is it like this? Lin Ling must have attracted more dragon souls. I've long felt that we shouldn't trust Lin Ling. He can't fight against the dragon souls at all. Yeah, he wants us to be buried with him. I don't want to die here. The three women were also shocked and almost wanted to escape. However, there were too many dragon souls in the sky. They didn't want to be noticed by the dragon souls, so they didn't dare to act rashly for the time being. However, if the dragon souls swooped down from the sky, they would definitely be the first to escape and let the third princess and the others attract the dragon souls' attention. For a moment, they looked at each other and tacitly had the same idea. Lin Ling, be careful. Everyone go help him. The third princess didn't know what they were thinking at all. At this moment, she was worried and shouted. Sakura and the others had just sat down cross-legged to recover. At this moment, they stood up again and prepared to help Lin Ling. However, at this moment, Lin Ling's cold pupils finally changed. A powerful soul force spread out like an ocean. At this moment, he seemed to have transformed into a dragon god, with an imposing aura that looked down on the world. Dang! Everyone heard that calm voice. Bang bang bang. In the sky, the rolling dragon souls began to explode. One by one, the ancient dragons exploded. Blood light illuminated the sky, then turned into dust and scattered from the sky. All the dragon souls were annihilated. This was just the power of a gaze. At the back, the third princess and the others maintained their charging posture, but at this moment, they all stopped in their tracks. Their faces were filled with horror. Chapter 2949. An ant should have the awareness of an ant. Dragon's soul. It was the taboo of the Resuscitate Dragon Palace. Even the leader of the magnates would not dare to fight it head-on. However, Lin Ling killed it with a single blow. This was too perverted. These dragon souls are actually the descendants of the Resuscitate Dragon God. They were buried here with him. Although the dragon's body is dead, the dragon's soul is still here. With the help of the mysterious star plants, the dragon's soul is nourished. They are also the tomb keepers of the Dragon Palace. Under everyone's shocked gaze, Lin Ling walked back calmly and said, "The only thing they are afraid of is soul power." Master, you are so powerful. Hearing this, the third princess's eyes were filled with admiration. Among the four magnates, only Lin Ling was the calmest. I have said that I have no intention of accepting you as my disciple, Lin Ling said with a smile. However, his gaze was extremely cold as he looked at the three ladies. Lin Ling, thank you, thank you. The three ladies did not know that death was upon them. They were still rejoicing that they had escaped death. No need. If you want to thank someone, thank King Yen Luo. Lin Ling's lips curled into a cold smile. He extended his right hand and flicked his finger. A wisp of flame shot out like an arrow and landed on one of the ladies, burning her. Lin Ling, what are you doing? The lady immediately cried out in pain. Unfortunately, she could not withstand Lin Ling's blow and was burned alive. The other two ladies' faces changed and were filled with anger. The three of them had roamed the 10,000 worlds and were very close to each other. However, the eldest sister died here. Because you wanted to kill my brothers and friends, Lin Ling said coldly. The two ladies clenched their teeth and their eyes were filled with killing intent. I know that you want to kill me, but you don't have the strength to do so. Also, my big brother and the others don't owe you anything. They helped you, so you should be grateful. Don't blame them and even plan to push the trouble to others. I hate people like this the most. So, I can help you deal with the dragon soul, but you all have to die. Plop. Hearing Lin Ling's words, the two women were completely terrified and hurriedly knelt down. Lord Lin Ling, please spare our lives. We are willing to be your slaves and serve you for the rest of our lives. Their beauty was not bad, and coupled with their strength, they were already used to others sacrificing their lives for them. They even thought that all of this was a matter of course. However, when they met Lin Ling didn't care about their beauty at all. He only treated them like ants. As for helping an ant, Lin Ling wouldn't care if it was as easy as lifting a finger. However, an ant must have the awareness of an ant. Second brother, they are just weak girls. How about sparing their lives? Sakura was soft-hearted and couldn't help but say, Big brother, some people are worth helping. Even if we use our lives to help, we won't regret it. However, some people aren't worth it. If all of you had died in the mouth of the dragon's soul, would they have sympathized with you? I guess not. They only have themselves in their eyes, as if it's a matter of course for others to help. Lin Ling looked at Sakura and said, although his big brother was decisive in killing, his temperament was too straightforward. To put it bluntly, he was also ignorant. But Sakura looked at the two women who were crying, and his heart still softened. Don't worry. You can't do it, but I can. In my eyes, it's fine as long as all of you are fine. Lin Ling shook his head. He knew that it was time for him to be the villain. In the future, if he, Lin Ling, wanted to kill someone, but he couldn't do it. He believed that his brother would also help him. The world of martial arts is cruel. No one owes anyone anything. When others help you, you should be grateful. Don't think that you are infallible. Because you are just ants. Lin Ling looked at the two women again. With a flick of his finger, surging flames shot out. Lord Lin Ling, please spare our lives. Sorry. We were wrong. Yes. The two women kept crying for help, but they were still mercilessly burned by the flames of time and space. In the end, they were turned into ashes. What you don't dare to do, I, Lin Ling, will do for you. But if I die in someone's hands in the future, I also hope that you can be like me today and do those things for me. Yes. After Lin Ling obliterated the two women, he turned around and strode forward. Hearing that, the third princess and the others felt ripples in their hearts. They knew that in Lin Ling's heart, only his family and friends were everything. What did the masses have to do with him? And for his family and friends, he dared to kill his way up to the 9 heavens. Even if the world called him a demon, he didn't care. Master, wait for me. Yes. Looking at the slender figure, the third princess immediately chased after him. Her heart was somewhat moved. No wonder Grandma Wendao was full of praise for Lin Ling. Because Lin Ling was indeed a friend worthy of deep friendship. The group continued forward and finally reached the crossroads. Lin Ling pointed out the path in front of them. Then, he walked on another path. Lin Ling, we'll wait for you in Qingzhou. Come back as soon as possible. Looking at Lin Ling's disappearing figure, the third princess and the others waved their hands and said, Don't worry, I'll be back. An indistinct voice could be heard from the misty road. Everyone nodded and chose a small path one after another, slowly walking forward. The path that Lin Ling took was obviously different. It was the main path to the main tomb. This path was undoubtedly extremely dangerous. But the benefits were also the greatest in the entire Wake-Up Dragon Palace. Because there were Dragon God Vitality Pills here. Once this treasure was taken by Lin Ling's fourth Dantian would also have a talent, and it was the Dragon God talent. Going straight to the main tomb, this path must be extraordinary. Little Kunlun, prepare for a fierce battle. Lin Ling's long robe was fluttering, and his eyes were filled with fighting spirit. Ka. After walking for an unknown period of time, the ground in front of them began to wriggle like a snake. Lin Ling was walking on the snake's body. What a strong vibration force. Sensing this, Lin Ling leaped up and exploded with his full speed. He shot forward at the speed of 20 worlds. At the same time, he realized that he was actually walking on the spine of a dragon. It was just a dead dragon. It was extremely magical. Ka. But the further he went, the ground began to rumble. Soil was splattered everywhere. Then, white skeletons crawled out. These skeletons were the skeletons in the sacrificial trench. When they were alive, they were indomitable experts. This path is indeed extraordinary. Lin Ling's expression became more serious as he roared. The realm-swallowing beast appeared and turned into a ferocious fist, attacking ahead. Rumble! Under that fist, a few white skeletons were smashed to pieces. But what surprised Lin Ling was that the pieces gathered again and turned into white skeletons. They were actually immortal and indestructible. These white skeletons were probably experts in the half-step saint realm when they were alive. Lin Ling was shocked, but his fighting spirit was even more intense. Again! Chapter 2950. A path with a slim chance of survival. The sage-to-be realm was the realm of sages. They already possessed the bloodline of gods. It was a higher realm than the martial immortal realm. Every sage-to-be expert could travel through the 9 provinces and change the laws of the world. They could change the sun, moon, stars, spring, summer, autumn, and winter. They were extremely powerful. As for the sages above the sage-to-be realm, they were people who could move the world. They could pass down the powerful great Tao of the world. Even if a martial artist had no martial strength, as long as he was fated to listen to their teachings, he could instantly become an indomitable expert. The great Tao was formless. If one heard it in the morning, one could die in the evening without regrets. The entire path was covered in skeletons, with terrifying auras lingering in the air. Boom! Boom! However, a meteor-like figure continued to bombard the ground, shattering all the white skeletons just to take a step forward. The figure in the blue and white robe was also covered in blood. That was because the white skeletons could not die. He could only continue to bombard the white skeletons and never retreat. He was like a small pawn. Although his pace was slow, he did not retreat at all. Come at me more fiercely. At that moment, Lin Ling's face was filled with exhaustion. However, his godly demon body was so strong that he could not fall. Moreover, as he was smashing the white skeletons, he was refining the imperial crystal to increase the power of the world sea in his dantian. After an unknown period of time, Lin Ling's dantian was continuously consumed and filled up. In the end, he stepped into the second level of the martial immortal realm. The remaining 2 dantians also stepped into the same realm. This greatly increased his strength and made it easier for him to fight against the white skeletons on the ancient road. Rumble! At that moment, the sky began to rumble. The entire dragon palace seemed to be shaking. In a distant place, the magnates raised their heads to look at the sky. They also noticed the changes in the dragon palace. The dragon palace is about to leave. Anyway, I have already obtained great benefits. The 99th prince frowned. Then, he smiled and did not plan to continue searching for the dragon palace. He felt that the dragon palace was more terrifying than he had imagined. If he continued, he would be in danger. The other magnates also felt the same. They even thought that they had already obtained the most precious treasure of the dragon palace. The cultivators began to retreat. Some experts who had less gains were unwilling to leave. However, they were killed by the dragon palace. I hope Master is fine. The 3rd princess also obtained the treasure she needed. She looked at the awakened suppressing dragon palace. At this moment, Lin Ling was still fighting on the great path. He had no way out. He had to obtain the divine dragon origin pill. In the past, when he was in the Crimson State, he saw the cultivators of the 9 states fighting for the dragon's soul. At that time, there were many cultivators. However, it was only for the dragon's soul of the divine dragon. What Lin Ling valued now was the divine dragon elixir, which was even more precious than the dragon's soul of the divine dragon. So, how could Lin Ling miss this precious treasure? Boom! After an unknown period of time, Lin Ling fell from the sky. His face was pale. He quickly sat down cross-legged. Although his strength had increased greatly, there were too many skeletons on the road. In front of them, neat rows of white skeletons were marching toward them, and in the sky, countless dragon souls of their descendants were also flying toward them. Scram! Lin Ling raised his head to look at the sky. With a roar, his soul power burst out. Boom! 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 A large number of dragon souls were shattered. Lin Ling took the opportunity to catch his breath. However, he was helpless against the skeletons on the road. Swoosh! At that moment, the scabbard on his back flew out on its own. He slashed the sword forward. The sword radiance was crystal clear and resplendent. Rumble! All the skeletons were split into 2. They could not block the sword. My head, where is it? The headless elder was floating in front of Lin Ling as he muttered to himself. Who knows? This sudden change made Lin Ling laugh out loud. The scabbard had once again floated out to protect him when his life was in danger. Right now, the skeletons on the road had been slashed apart. It would take some time for them to return to their original state. If he did not leave now, when would he leave? Lin Ling quickly stood up. With his right hand, he grabbed the scabbard and shot it forward. Old man, I will find your head. Don't worry. Lin Ling even shouted at the scabbard. He did not care if the scabbard understood him. As for the headless elder's sword, it was indeed terrifying. The entire road had been cleared. Lin Ling finally charged across the road. Black land began to appear in front of him. This was also the first time Lin Ling saw an endless land in the wake-suppressing dragon palace. On the land there was nothing. In the distance, a huge ancient tree sat there. It swayed with the wind, giving off a sinister feeling. Upon closer inspection, there were many corpses hanging from the ancient tree. Those corpses were constantly swaying. It was a ghastly sight. Where the fuck is this? Lin Ling's expression turned solemn. The road to the main tomb was indeed filled with danger. At this moment, a tree branch suddenly shot out from the ground and wrapped around Lin Ling's leg. More and more branches appeared, gradually wrapping around Lin Ling. These branches were completely black but extremely tough. Even with Lin Ling's physical strength, he could not break free. Not good. This is the universal ghost tree. Lin Ling's expression changed drastically. This was because he recognized that this was the ghost tree from the underworld. It was even more terrifying than the ghost tree in the myriad realms. A single leaf from this tree could even turn into a ghost domain in the myriad realms. Furthermore, the branches were pulling Lin Ling towards the tree in front of him. Lin Ling was hanging there. Furthermore, Lin Ling realized that his vitality was constantly being absorbed. It seemed that he was about to become one of the corpses on the tree. He looked to the side and found that the corpse hanging there was an old man in a Taoist robe. He did not know how long he had been dead. In any case, his face was filled with pain. Lin Ling won't die here, right? Lin Ling roared in his heart. He wanted to activate the space-time divine steel. However, he was exhausted at this moment. His realm essence was not enough to activate it. Kunlun. However, at this moment, Lin Ling's left hand made a sound. The black vine swam out. Little Kunlun. Sensing this, Lin Ling's pupils constricted. In his eyes, the black vine swam towards the ancient tree and wrapped around it. Little Kunlun wants to save me. Lin Ling understood Little Kunlun's intention. Pa! However, at this moment, a crisp sound rang out. Little Kunlun was wrapped around the ancient tree, but some mysterious force broke it. Blood flowed out of the broken vine. This made Lin Ling's heart ache. Kunlun. However, among the broken vines, one of the vines grew again and wrapped around the ancient tree. Pa! However, it broke again. However, the weaker vine wrapped around it again as if it would not stop until it was dead. Little Kunlun. Seeing this scene, Lin Ling could not help but feel sad. He knew that Little Kunlun was broken. This would definitely cause fatal damage to Little Kunlun. However, Little Kunlun did not retreat. It still wanted to save Lin Ling. Chapter 2951. The Main Tomb Canyon. Crack, crack, crack. Cracking sounds were heard continuously. In the end, Lin Ling could no longer see Little Kunlun. It was probably as big as a strand of hair. Little Kunlun. Little Kunlun. Lin Ling said weakly. His eyes were moist. However, his vitality was fading, and he gradually closed his eyes. However, he did not see that the hair-sized vine on the ground was still moving towards the ancient tree. It was moving along the bark of the ancient tree. After an unknown period of time, the entire ancient ghost tree began to sway. Moreover, a series of sharp and painful cries rang out, as if the night crows were crying. Then, leaves fell everywhere, and the corpses hanging on the tree fell down one after another. Lin Ling was among them. However, Lin Ling did not see that the ghost tree from the underworld had begun to wither quietly. On the bark, black vines swam out and wrapped around the ghost tree tightly. It was as if the vines had absorbed all the nutrients of the tree. After an unknown period of time, Lin Ling opened his eyes. The first thing he saw was the ferocious ancient tree. He felt a chill in his heart. This damn thing was too scary. However, he soon realized that the ghost tree was surrounded by black vines. Those vines were full of sharp thorns and looked extremely ferocious. What's going on? Could that be Little Kunlun? Little Kunlun. Lin Ling's mouth was wide open. He could not believe it. Little Kunlun. Little Kunlun. He hurriedly yelled out. Rumble. Suddenly, a deafening sound could be heard. A scene that shocked Lin Ling appeared. The entire ground was covered with black vines. It was as if countless snakes were slithering towards Lin Ling. They surrounded Lin Ling. Then those vines began to shrink. In the end, they turned into a black vine. It was only as thick as a finger, but it was extremely mysterious. Most importantly, that vine kept shaking at Lin Ling like a dog wagging its tail. Little Kunlun. Little Kunlun. Seeing this, Lin Ling finally confirmed that this fellow was Little Kunlun. Looking ahead again, there was no longer a ghost tree. There was only a piece of rotten wood. It seemed that the ghost tree had been completely absorbed by Little Kunlun. This also surprised Lin Ling. He didn't expect Little Kunlun to have such power. However, when he thought about Kunlun's origin, Lin Ling felt relieved. Little Kunlun was obtained from the place where the Qing Thearcha's imperial jade seal was seized. That place was obviously related to the rules of the gods. That kind of place was naturally not something that Lin Ling could understand at the moment. Haha, Little Kunlun, I owe you a life. Putting away his thoughts, Lin Ling couldn't help but laugh out loud. Next, it should be time to reach the main tomb. The dragon god Yuan Dan that he exchanged with his life should not disappoint Lin Ling, right? Let's go, Little Kunlun, let's go. Bringing along Little Kunlun, Lin Ling advanced along the vast land. In front of him, it was lonely and silent. It made Lin Ling feel as if he had arrived in the netherworld. Anyone who walked here for a long time would definitely feel bored and couldn't help but want to leave this place. However, Lin Ling had learned martial arts in 2 lives and was already used to this kind of boredom. Instead, he used this period of time to cleanse the world essence in his dantian, making it even purer. The world essence in his 3 dantians also became denser. Currently, Lin Ling was at the 2nd level of the martial immortal realm. After fusing his 3 dantians, he could defeat a 6th level martial immortal. If he faced a genius level expert, Lin Ling could defeat a 4th level martial immortal. In the entire Azure province, such strength could definitely be ranked in the top 50. And in the Azure province, there were countless experts. To be able to enter the top 50, one definitely had the qualifications to be called a king. Along the way, Lin Ling walked through 4 seasons. He carried his sword on his back, like a lone swordsman. Occasionally, he would chat with Little Kunlun, but most of the time, he was thinking about martial arts. His ultimate flame path had also quietly increased. The power of the universe had reached 50%. As his strength increased, the help of the evil flame change was becoming less and less. This was a pity. Unknowingly, snow had begun to fall from the sky. The land was white. We still haven't reached the end. Lin Ling looked up, a firm look on his handsome face. After shaking off the snow on his body, he continued onward. Kunlun. The surrounding cold had no effect on Little Kunlun. It was like a tattoo that wrapped around Lin Ling's left arm. It had a different style to it. During this time, Lin Ling and Little Kunlun were constantly talking. Although he didn't understand what Little Kunlun was saying, he roughly knew that after Little Kunlun swallowed the ghost tree, its strength had greatly increased. As for what boundary it had risen to, Lin Ling wasn't too sure. How strange. You're so strong but you still can't speak. Lin Ling helplessly stroked the vine on his left arm. At this time, the scene in front of him finally changed. The demon god's tomb appeared. The earth was covered with tombstones. It was lonely and silent, but a terrifying aura filled the air. Is this the final trial? Lin Ling looked up, a confident smile on his face. Gulyalu. Just as he finished speaking, the demon god's tomb began to change. A large number of ancient souls rushed out from the tombstones. Ghost energy filled the air. The masters of these tombstones were definitely powerhouses of the half-step sage realm when they were alive. Scram. However, the current Lin Ling was no longer the Lin Ling of the past. He roared and his soul force bloomed. Bang bang bang. The ancient souls in front of him all exploded. Then, a large number of jade skeletons crawled out from the ground. They moved with a crackling sound and stepped towards Lin Ling. Again. Lin Ling's body moved. Rolling fists blasted out. At his current realm, the simpler the method, the more effective it was. This was because his realm essence was too vast. With 3 dantians fused together, it was comparable to an ordinary 6th-level martial immortal. In addition, with 50% of the power of the universe and the realm swallowing beast strength, an ordinary fist was a powerful attack. Bang! The fist blasted the ground. Countless tombstones were overturned. Swoosh swoosh. Stepping on the ground, Lin Ling shot forward. It was still the speed of 20 worlds, but it was more freely released. Boom boom boom. This time, Lin Ling rushed through the demon god's tomb. And the destination was also reached. It was an ancient canyon. There were no plants in the canyon. There was only a huge ancient dragon corpse lying there. This was a bone dragon. At this moment, it raised its head and looked down on all life. This must be the wake dragon god. What surprised Lin Ling was that the canyon was not empty. There was an old man facing the dragon god alone. His white hair danced wildly, as if a god had descended. There's someone? Lin Ling could not help but exclaim. He discovered that the old man seemed to have been here for a long time. Because the canyon was in a mess, full of traces left behind by battle. Moreover, there were a large number of broken dragon bones lying on the ground. It seemed that the old man had killed many dragon descendants. Someone actually came here. At this moment, the old man also spoke. He was wearing a nebula robe, giving people a sense of immortality. Even the bone dragon looked at Lin Ling. Although its eyes were empty, it was likely that there was a hint of surprise in them. Chapter 2952. I, Lin Ling, will not retreat in less than 3 incense sticks time. Level 2 martial immortal? However, what shocked the old man even more was that this person's cultivation was so low. Impossible. The old man kept shaking his head. Along the way, danger lurked everywhere. It was simply impossible for a martial immortal to reach the main tomb. Although the old man's strength was overwhelming, he was not arrogant. He clasped his hands at Lin Ling and said, "Young friend, I am Xueqi of the Spirit Province. May I ask how you came here?" "I walked here." Lin Ling frowned slightly and replied indifferently. Hearing that, the old man almost smiled bitterly. Of course, he knew that Lin Ling walked here. However, what he wanted to know was how he got here. "Young friend, I am a saint. Coming here, I have a slim chance of survival." "You are only a martial immortal," the old man said again. "Saint?" Lin Ling's eyes flickered. He did not expect the old man to be so powerful. However, seeing that the old man was in a sorry state, he could not help but smile and say, "Who said that martial immortals can't enter? Maybe I'm lucky. After all, I did not encounter any danger on my way here." Hearing that, the old man smiled bitterly again. He had risked his life to get here. However, this brat seemed so relaxed. Could it be that his character was that bad? How could he know that Lin Ling had obtained the map of the Dragon Palace through a shortcut? As for him, he had clearly forced his way in. Naturally, his treatment was different. "Young friend, you should leave. This dragon god Fu Su is not someone you can face." After shaking his head, the old man reminded Lin Ling. Lin Ling could tell that it was a kind reminder. Involuntarily, Lin Ling's impression of the old man increased. "Thank you. However, this dragon god Fu Su does not seem to be someone you can face either." Lin Ling glanced at the enormous bone dragon and said with a smile, "You have a sharp tongue. However, that is true. I have already fought with dragon god Fu Su for 3 years. The old man shook his head helplessly and said, "This dragon god Fu Su still left a weak soul imprint. In addition, before it died, it set up a huge barrier around the Dragon Palace. This caused its power to not weaken by much. Now that I have fought with it for 3 years, although it is on the verge of collapse, I am also exhausted. Since that's the case, why don't we work together? I want the Dragon God Essence Pill." Lin Ling's eyes lit up as he said lightly. However, these words caused the old man's beard to snort. The Dragon God Essence Pill was the most precious item of the Fu Su Dragon God. This little fellow was really asking for too much. If you can kill Fu Su Dragon God, I don't mind giving you the Dragon God Essence Pellet. I want the Dragon Bone Reverse Scale. To tell you the truth, this old man was heavily injured before coming here. I urgently need the Dragon Bone Reverse Scale to cleanse my bones. The old man pondered deeply for a moment. Even though he didn't believe that Lin Ling was a match for Dragon God Fu Su, he had no other choice now. Said. Lin Ling nodded. No wonder the old man couldn't defeat Dragon God Fu Su. He was injured. Now, can you block it for me for an incense stick's worth of time? The old man said, I can recover 30% of my strength in that time. Don't be fooled by his motionless appearance. In fact, he was still in a stalemate with Fu Su Dragon God. If he took a step back, he would be doomed eternally. An incense stick's worth of time is too little. How about 3? Lin Ling stared at Dragon God Fu Su and said proudly. The old man's eyes narrowed. He had always thought that Lin Ling was a little brat. However, he saw the demeanor of an expert in Lin Ling. He couldn't help but be moved. You have guts. Fine, I will bet with you. The old man couldn't help but laugh. He sat down cross-legged. The whole process was straightforward and decisive. He'd bet his life on Lin Ling because the moment he sat down cross-legged, the bone dragon would definitely attack him, and only Lin Ling could protect him. Old man, you're a little too trusting, aren't you? Even Lin Ling was shocked by the old man's generosity. I believe in my own eyes. The old man smiled and nodded. At the same time, the bone dragon roared. Mixed with an ancient aura, it swept towards the old man. However, the old man was unfazed. His long robe fluttered in the wind and he recovered just like that. When he saw this, a heroic feeling rose in Lin Ling's heart. The other party had only met him by chance, but he trusted him so much. Although he, Lin Ling, was not a good person, he would not disappoint. I, Lin Ling, will not retreat before 3 incense sticks worth of time. Lin Ling uttered and exploded with all his strength. The realm-swallowing beast arrived and charged forward with rolling flames. Boom! The moment it collided with the bone dragon was frozen by Lin Ling's punch. However, Lin Ling was obviously no match for the bone dragon. He was sent flying. This guy. Although the old man was recovering, he saw Lin Ling attack. At this moment, his beard was blown up. Because he didn't expect Lin Ling to be so strong. Especially when he saw that Lin Ling actually had the talent of the realm-swallowing beast. This made him extremely shocked. Moreover, Lin Ling seemed to be at the 2nd level of the martial immortal realm. However, his realm essence was so vast that it made him feel like he was at the 6th level of the martial immortal realm. Where did this freak come from? The old man couldn't help but spit out this sentence. However, at this moment, the bone dragon exploded with a fierce aura and swept towards the old man again. This caused the old man's pupils to narrow. Although Lin Ling surprised him, it was obvious that he couldn't stop the bone dragon. At this moment, he was recovering his realm essence. If he stopped halfway, not only would there be no benefits, it would be harmful. However, it seemed that it was impossible for him not to attack. It seemed that he only had a short time to recover. Just as he was about to stand up, a figure shot over like a meteor and collided with the bone dragon again. Rumble! Without a doubt, Lin Ling was sent flying again. Little guy, are you courting death? Seeing this, the old man immediately cried out in alarm. He was somewhat moved because Lin Ling didn't know him. However, he kept his promise and said that he would protect him for 3 incense sticks worth of time. He immediately risked his life. After all, he thought that Lin Ling wouldn't be able to stand up again after this move. Obediently recover your realm essence. It's not time yet. It's not your turn to speak. On the ground, Lin Ling stood up again. His body was covered in blood, but his voice was filled with dignity. Fine, you're the first martial immortal realm, but you dare to speak to me like this. However, at this moment, I'll listen to you. The old man smiled bitterly and closed his eyes. He seized this rare recovery time. Roar! The huge bone dragon still had a bit of intelligence. It knew that if it didn't get rid of Lin Ling would definitely pester it like a fly. Therefore, it looked at Lin Ling and attacked Lin Ling. With Lin Ling's current strength, he was no match for Dragon God Fu Su at all, even if it was only a corpse. Fortunately, Lin Ling's goal was to hold on for 3 incense sticks worth of time. Come and fight. Lin Ling's eyes were filled with battle intent. The realm-devouring beast's talent made his body strong. Even if he was injured, he could quickly recover. Boom! Boom! Chapter 2953. Slaying the Dragon God with a Single Strike. Flaming Coffin. Lin Ling also used all his ultimate moves, causing the sky to be filled with colorful flames that were extremely resplendent. The flaming coffin at the second level of the martial immortal realm was undoubtedly extremely terrifying. 50% of the power of the universe continued to bombard the canyon. What a great genius! Although the elder was recovering, he was still paying attention to the battle. He could not help but nod in admiration. He had wanted to help Lin Ling when he was in the most danger. However, Lin Ling did not let him down and remained undefeated. His fighting spirit was extremely tenacious. Furthermore, he used all sorts of powerful moves. The elder had to admit that even though he had traversed the 9 provinces, he had never met a genius like Lin Ling. Rumble! The flaming coffin smashed down, but unfortunately, it did not affect the bone dragon much. It only managed to buy some time. In the end, the bone dragon let out a roar as divine light enveloped the canyon. With an even crazier aura, it swept towards Lin Ling. You are so difficult to deal with even after death. Could it be that you still yearn for the prosperity of this world? Lin Ling gritted his teeth. He had already tried his best, but unfortunately, he could not stop the bone dragon. Therefore, he could only use another trump card. Space-time Divine Steel. Rumble! The terrifying space-time Divine Steel was like the laws of the gods. It was filled with a domineering and ancient aura as it smashed down heavily. This time, the bone dragon was smashed to the ground. The canyon seemed to be collapsing. The elder opened his eyes in shock and said, "Space-time Divine Steel? The legendary ultimate desolate body?" The ultimate desolate body was also divided into grades. Although the space-time Divine Steel was not the highest grade, having it meant that one had the ultimate desolate body. He never expected Lin Ling's talent to exceed his expectations. Furthermore, Lin Ling had the talent of the realm-devouring beast and the space-time Divine Steel. He was also a monster with 2 talents. What are you so surprised about? Hurry up and recover. At that moment, Lin Ling heard the elder's exclamation. He could not help but curse. Did this old man think that Lin Ling was easy to deal with? He even had the mood to watch Lin Ling attack. I'm sorry. The old man also reacted and hurriedly closed his eyes to recover. However, his heart was still shaken. Rumble! Meanwhile, the ground started to wriggle, and the space-time Divine Steel actually slowly rose into the air. It turned out that the bone dragon had crawled up once more, and its enormous dragon head had lifted the space-time Divine Steel up into the air. I'm still too weak. I can't unleash the full power of the space-time Divine Steel. Seeing this, Lin Ling frowned. He had great talent, but his cultivation level was too low. He couldn't use it. As for the bone dragon, it was like a flying dragon in the sky. Its hollow eyes stared at Lin Ling, and there was a cold glint in its eyes. It was clear that it still had a sliver of intelligence. It knew that this little brat had to be eliminated, because once he grew up, he wouldn't be much weaker than the old man. Rumble! Layers of colorful clouds began to appear in the canyon, causing the canyon to be illuminated by a myriad of multicolored lights. Divine light of Fu Su, little brat. This is not good. This bone dragon is going to use its full strength when it was still alive. Although it's only for the time it takes to burn an incense stick, it's definitely not something you can withstand. At this moment, the old man's expression was extremely serious. He had fought with Dragon God Fu Su for 3 years, and he knew that Dragon God Fu Su had such means. Stand down. I'll do it. The old man wanted to stand up. Shut up. I, Lin Ling, may not be a good person, but I've always kept my word. 3 incense sticks have yet to burn, and this is not your battlefield. However, Lin Ling reprimanded him directly. This made the old man even more grateful. However, it was also because of this that he didn't want Lin Ling to die here. You're not its match. You've already fallen many times. That's enough to be proud of. Let me do it. Men can fall, but they won't fall forever. You can't say that you can't do it. Lin Ling's long hair danced wildly. His blue robe was covered in blood, as if he was bathed in blood. Hearing this, the old man's heart rumbled. For the first time, he carefully sized up Lin Ling. Men can fall, but they won't fall forever. What an arrogant young man. At this moment, the old man couldn't bear to help. Because if he did, it would be a humiliation to Lin Ling. Please don't die. 3 incense sticks. Time is getting closer and closer. The old man gritted his teeth. What he could do now was to recover his strength as quickly as possible. Unfortunately, in these 3 years, he had constantly fought Dragon God Fu Su, causing the treasures to recover his realm essence to be used up. Otherwise, he could also fight side by side with Lin Ling. Rumble. After the divine light of Fu Su enveloped the valley, the bone dragon grew even larger. It rushed into the sky, stirring up the entire dragon palace. The dragon palace shook as if it was about to shatter. Then, the bone dragon covered the sky and earth as if it was going to destroy the world. Sensing this, the old man's heart bled. He knew that Lin Ling couldn't hold on anymore. However, Lin Ling still stood tall like a pine tree. He didn't retreat. Whether it was for the promise or for the Dragon God Vitality Pill, he wouldn't retreat. It's up to you, Headless Senior. His hand touched the ancient sword behind him. This was his other trump card. It was stronger than the Time and Space Divine Steel. Of course, the Time and Space Divine Steel's potential had not been stimulated. The moment the sword touched, the sky changed color and time froze. A headless old man appeared behind Lin Ling. Demonic aura surged and sword chi gushed. This deity from the ancient time seemed to have become one with Lin Ling, and they were fighting in the era of the ancient deities. The sword was in Lin Ling's hand. His body's strength was continuously absorbed. His essence, chi, and spirit condensed on the sword. In the next moment, the sword was unsheathed. The tyrannical song sword was roaring. It was as if only this sword was singing. Demonic sword rank. The old man sensed the surging demonic aura and couldn't help but open his eyes. That was because this was the power of a higher rank. It was above the universe. Whoosh! With a slash of the sword, the universe was broken and the sun and moon were destroyed. The multicolored suppressing awakening divine light was actually slashed apart by the sword. The gigantic bone dragon was also split into 2. The sword wherever it went. Rumble! The bone dragon crashed into the canyon, shaking the sky and earth. Dragon God slain with a single sword. What other trump cards is this brat hiding? The old man was so scared that his face turned pale. He had never seen such a powerful first-level martial immortal. It was as if he saw a 5 or 6-year-old child suddenly become a martial arts master. Bang! Bang! On the ground, the bone dragon, which had been cut into pieces, let out a crisp sound. It actually reformed once again. Although it was much weaker than before, this time, it charged at Lin Ling with a ferocious aura. It wanted to kill Lin Ling as soon as possible. Although Lin Ling's shocking sword move was powerful, it was obviously not enough to shake the Time and Space Divine Dragon. After all, even the old man in the Sage Realm had fought for 3 years. Lin Ling naturally couldn't do it. What a tough bone. Chapter 2954. Dragon God Fu Su was killed. Lin Ling couldn't help but roar, "Old man, what are you doing? Brat, I'm waiting for you to slash out again. That sword was too beautiful." Beautiful? Are you an idiot? A second-level martial immortal is already very powerful. How can I slash out a second time? Do you think I'm a god? Sorry. I'm sorry. I misunderstood. I was truly shocked by your strength. I've never seen such a powerful second-level martial immortal before. After Lin Ling scolded him, the old man came to his senses. 3 incense sticks worth of time had passed. He jumped up and roared like thunder. It's my turn. The entire canyon moved. The huge realm essence seemed to overturn the chaos. Plap! Lin Ling sat on the ground powerlessly. He looked at the old man in the sky and was speechless. Did that old man have to be so pretentious? Little friend, the person I entrusted to you didn't disappoint me. You're a true man. You said 3 incense sticks, and you did it. Now it's my turn, and I won't disappoint you. Watch me. The old man had recovered 30% of his strength, and he had the demeanor of a transcendent being. At this moment, his fighting spirit was high. Stop talking nonsense. Hurry up and attack. Attack. Lin Ling couldn't help but curse. I won't disappoint you. 9 luminaries flow, Primordial beginning wander, essence bright, original spirit disperse, endless hope, send my radiance to Zhu Jing, resolve stagnation, obtain the flying cloud, rise to the purple star, everything in the world, let me foresee. Attack! The old man muttered to himself. He activated a powerful technique and combined it with his talent. His true god martial spirit also reached the fourth seal. His whole body became huge. Realm essence surged, like a war god. Little worm, I'll show you my power. Attack! A rolling palm mixed with purple light blasted toward the bone dragon. Rumble! The terrifying power hit the bone dragon, causing its bones to splatter and the entire canyon to collapse. Arrogant! Attack! Bully me! Attack! I'll let you die with everlasting regret. I can't lose face in front of that brat. Go to hell. Rumble! The old man looked down from above like a god. His palms continued to strike, and with each strike, he let out a roar. Lin Ling rolled his eyes when he heard those words. He didn't expect there to be such a strange expert in the land of the 9 prefectures. However, he had to admit that the strength of the old man was indeed terrifying. He was even stronger than Li Xiaoyao in the past. Of course, Li Xiaoyao had only cultivated for a short period of time. If it weren't for the fact that he was harmed by the heavenly glaze, he would definitely surpass that old man in the future. Boom! With the old man's final palm strike, the ground was flattened, and the bone dragon was blown to pieces. Did you see that? I fulfilled my promise. The old man panted heavily and looked at Lin Ling with a smug expression. Perhaps because Lin Ling had risked his life to protect him, he felt that he couldn't let go of his pride. Therefore, after recovering a certain amount of strength, he wanted to broaden Lin Ling's horizons and even worship him. Unfortunately, Lin Ling had already seen his strength in his previous life. Therefore, his reaction was very calm. He nodded and said, This expression, this indifferent made the old man feel like he had failed. It was as if he had suffered a huge blow. Don't be so proud. The dragon god Fu Su before his death is even more terrifying. But soon, Lin Ling's eyes narrowed. Because his soul power sensed that the broken pieces of the dragon god Fu Su were attacking from all directions and surrounding the old man. This happened very quickly. When the old man reacted, his expression changed greatly. Unknowingly, a huge bone dragon had appeared in front of the old man. The dragon's head was roaring, and it continued to wrap around the old man. It wanted to wrap the old man to death. If the power of the bone dragon wrapped around 10,000 worlds, even 10,000 worlds would collapse. Not good. The old man's eyes trembled. Then he laughed bitterly. I didn't expect that I, Xing Shiyun, would die here. I was too careless, too careless. If he hadn't taken credit in front of Lin Ling, he wouldn't have been so careless. Unfortunately, he was too eager to show off. This led to him being entangled by the dragon god Fu Su. That might not be the case. But at this moment, a clear voice suddenly sounded in the old man's ears. Then, a black bolt of lightning suddenly shot into the sky. It was extremely fast. Before the dragon god Fu Su could wrap around the old man, it had already wrapped around the dragon god Fu Su. And what was even more terrifying was that the huge dragon god Fu Su's body was completely entangled. And what wrapped around it were black vines. At this moment, the old man was stunned. He was shocked and dumbfounded. What are you doing? Hurry up and attack. However, Lin Ling's angry roar floated out again. Was this old man born with dementia? Why was he in a daze? Alright. The reason why the old man was in a daze was because he didn't expect Lin Ling to be hiding something. Moreover, it was an extremely terrifying move. Because the vines that could wrap around the dragon god Fu Su were no small matter. Great World Heaven Measuring Palm. However, the old man knew that the vines wouldn't be able to wrap around it for long. Therefore, he gathered all his strength on his palm. A mysterious ruler appeared behind him. It was as if it could measure the universe. Boom! With the vines wrapped around it, the palm landed cleanly on the dragon's head. The dragon god Fu Su let out a roar. Cracks began to appear on the dragon's head. Finally, layer upon layer of cracks appeared. It was as if a mountain had collapsed. At the same time, within the countless broken bones, a dim soul struggled. It was the dragon god Fu Su's soul. Die! At this moment, although Lin Ling was exhausted, his soul power hadn't been exhausted. Therefore, he used his soul power to clash with the dragon god Fu Su's soul. If it was the dragon god Fu Su from before, Lin Ling's soul power wouldn't affect it at all. However, the dragon god Fu Su was already dead. It was only a remnant soul that lingered in the world. In addition, it had fought with the old man for 3 years. Therefore, the dragon god Fu Su's soul was extremely dim. In the end, the dragon god Fu Su's soul power destroyed the dragon god Fu Su's soul power. Without the dragon god Fu Su's dragon soul, the bone dragon's corpse could no longer reform. Finally, it dimmed and the entire shattered canyon finally became quiet. It's been 3 years. I finally won. The old man stared at the dragon god Fu Su's soul. He was stunned in the sky. Tears flowed out of his eyes. In order to find the dragon god Fu Su's reverse scale, he had fought here for 3 years. Later, he realized that he could no longer retreat. If he retreated, he would definitely be devoured by the dragon god Fu Su. Therefore, he could only drag it out. However, an ordinary-looking kid suddenly appeared and said that the two of them would work together. At that time, he didn't believe that the kid could be of any help. However, in the end, the dragon god Fu Su that he had fought for 3 years was completely wiped out by the two of them. In fact, at the most critical moment, it was the kid who killed it. Chapter 2955. Refining the Dragon God Origin Pill. Why are you looking at me? Do you want to kill me and steal my treasure? Looking at the old man's agitated expression, Lin Ling immediately frowned. He had learned martial arts for 2 lifetimes and knew the fickleness of the world, especially when Li Xiaoyao's career was betrayed by Tian Liuli. Therefore, he would not trust people so easily. Who do you think I am? Who would have known that it would have been better if Lin Ling had not said anything? The moment he did, the old man was immediately enraged. Even his beard was blown up. In a fit of pique, he landed on the ground and stood there, refusing to even look at Lin Ling. This caused Lin Ling to be startled, and he realized that he seemed to have said something wrong. He didn't expect this old man to be a sincere person who valued promises, and hated being misunderstood the most. Well, I apologize. Because the treasure is right in front of them, anyone would be more cautious. Lin Ling stood up and walked over. That's right. There are countless people in the universe. In order to become stronger, everyone is extremely selfish and arrogant. However, there are exceptions. Some people value principles. For example, you are a man of your words. So, this old man is the same. What you said just now was belittling and it made me very uncomfortable. The old man turned to look at Lin Ling, his face still filled with anger. Hearing this, Lin Ling immediately waved his hand apologetically. I was wrong. Don't be so petty. I'm not being stingy, it's just that your words insulted me. Now, take away all the treasures left behind by Fu Su Dragon God and see if I'll even frown. The old man sat down and closed his eyes. He didn't even look at Lin Ling. Seeing this, Lin Ling smiled helplessly. He didn't expect this old man to be so stubborn, but he was also stubborn to the point of being cute. That's what you said. After that, Lin Ling walked forward and released little Kunlun. He had little Kunlun collect all the dragon bones on the ground. These were precious treasures. Soon after, he found a palm-sized piece of black dragon bone. It was the reverse scale of the dragon bone, an extremely precious treasure within the dragon god scale armor. After he collected it, he glanced at the old man and found that he was still angry. He simply collected the dragon god origin pills and left the canyon. The old man was indeed angry, but when he saw Lin Ling leave in such a carefree manner, his eyes trembled. This little guy was really free and easy. He didn't leave anything for himself. He had been fighting here for 3 years, waiting for the dragon bone reverse scale to recover from his injuries. But now, the treasure in his hands had been snatched away. However, he couldn't open his mouth to beg Lin Ling. After all, he had boasted before. He really left? It can't be, right? Then I've wasted the past 3 years. The old man sat on the ground and opened his eyes. His eyes trembled and eventually became moist. Perhaps he had been too optimistic about Lin Ling, so Lin Ling had disappointed him in the end. This caused his mood to become very gloomy. After an unknown period of time, he finally stood up and left the canyon dejectedly. He suddenly felt that he was very stupid, because not everyone valued promises. The reason why the little brat used his life to help him was because he needed his help, but he foolishly believed the little brat, causing him to return empty-handed. I'm so stupid. The old man sighed and shook his head. He finally walked out of the canyon, but his eyes instantly lit up. In front of the canyon's main road, a black scale armor lay there. Although the color was dim, it was as dazzling as the sun at this moment. Because that was the dragon bone reverse scale. This meant that Lin Ling had left this treasure for him. This little guy. Staring at the scale armor, the old man's body trembled, and the depths of his eyes became even more moist. He hadn't misjudged him. He had blamed the little guy wrongly. He valued promises and kept his word. He was a true man. However, Lin Ling was the same. Lin Ling was able to leave with the treasure and disappear into the primal chaos. It would be very difficult for that old man to find Lin Ling again. However, Lin Ling had still left behind a treasure. As for that treasure, it was the Dragon God scale. Not to mention Lin Ling, a mere martial immortal, it was likely that even saints would be tempted by it. Brat, where are you? This old man wants to apologize to you. Before this old man suspected you in his heart. The old man looked around emotionally. However, Lin Ling was no longer in the ancient land. Instead, there was a line of words on the ground. It said, "Old man, you're to my liking. If fate wills it, we'll meet again. I'm Lin Ling from the Qing province." Lin Ling from the Qing province. The old man stared at those words, and the corners of his mouth curled into a smile. This kid will be my Xingyun's #1 disciple. No one can snatch him from me. Ha ha. He raised his head and laughed loudly. If there were experts from the Spirit Province here, they would definitely be shocked. That was because Xingyun from the Spirit Province was extremely famous. His strength was overwhelming, and countless geniuses wanted to become his disciple. However, they were all rejected by him, and he even disdained them. This time, he took the initiative to recruit a disciple. He was very happy, incomparably happy. I've finally found a disciple to my liking. Moreover, this talent, this strength, it's simply difficult to find. After I recover my strength, I'll personally come find you. You want to run away? No way. The old man put away the scale armor on the ground and skipped away. It was as if finding a good disciple was more worth being happy about than obtaining the dragon bone scale armor. At that moment, Lin Ling had returned to the path he came from. He knew that the old man had taken a different path from him. The old man had most likely forced his way in. Thus, it was more dangerous. That old man is pretty good. Good. Thinking of that sage-like but magnanimous senior, Lin Ling couldn't help but smile. Then he found a quiet place, took out all his gains and checked them. The dragon bone can greatly increase the strength of my realm-swallowing beast. The Dragon God Original Pill will be the talent of my 4th Dantian. For now, I'll first refine the Dragon God Original Pill into my body. Lin Ling sat down cross-legged, holding the colorful Dragon God Original Pill in his hands. He also used the Chaos Deity formula to refine it. In his previous life, Li Xiaoyao also had several dantians. However, later on, his dantians were very ordinary. In this life, Lin Ling's other dantians were very strong except for his Thunder Dantian, which was slightly weaker. One was the Realm-Swallowing Beast, one was the Time and Space Tablet, and the last was the Dragon God Original Pill. When the 4th Dantian was born, Lin Ling would be able to transform into a dragon. At that time, even if he didn't cultivate the 3rd seal of the true God martial spirit and didn't use the power of the universe, he would be able to defeat a large number of experts with his vast realm essence. This time, the refining process took a lot of time. Gradually, Lin Ling's Dantian roared. A mysterious young dragon was circling around. Unfortunately, there was no 4th Dantian. This young dragon seemed to have not found a place to stay. Currently, Lin Ling was still one step away from the birth of the 4th Dantian. As for his physical strength, he had already reached the standard. After the battle with Fu Su Dragon God, he had completely refined the essence of the Realm Mountain. His physical strength had reached 1.2 million realm essence, which was equivalent to the strength of 120 realms. As for soul power, it had always been Lin Ling's strength. Chapter 2956. 3 years later. After refining the essence of the World Mountain, my realm-devouring beast talent has reached the peak of the godly body. I'm just one step away from the desolate body. If I refine the dragon bone, I'll definitely be able to achieve the desolate body. However, after refining the essence of the world mountain, my godly demon body has reached its limit. The accumulation isn't enough, so I won't refine the dragon bone for the time being. After this trip to the 8 gods celestial palace, my strength has greatly increased. It's time to return. After an unknown period of time, Lin Ling finally stood up and looked into the distance. A powerful aura emanated from his body. In Qingzhou, he had the confidence to go on a rampage. That was because he had too many trump cards. After standing up, Lin Ling looked into the distance. After stroking little Kunlun, he strode away. At this moment, he could return to Qingzhou. Autumn and winter had arrived in Qing Prefecture. White snow covered the land, causing the ancient divine prefecture to gain a bit of vigor. 3 years. It had been 3 years since the trip to the 8 gods celestial palace. In these 3 years, Qingzhou had undergone new changes. Among the 24 Son of Heaven's fate, a few of them had successfully transformed into the Qingzhou Emperor's imperial jade seal. The only thing missing was the final Son of Heaven's aura. This let people know that the new Qingzhou Emperor was about to ascend to the throne. Other than the changes in the Son of Heaven's fate, the 9 heavens of Qingzhou had changed greatly. Other than the most mysterious 4, the remaining 5 were Lin Ling, the 81st Prince, Sakura, Meng Lu, and a newly born heavenly king, Fei Jinling. Fei Jinling was originally an ordinary genius. However, after obtaining great benefits from the 8 gods celestial palace, he rose like a comet. His rise was almost comparable to Lin Ling. He was also known as one of the most monstrous geniuses in Qingzhou. At this moment, in the various cities of Qingzhou, there were several figures flying across the sky. They brought along a dazzling light, causing the eyes of the warriors on the ground to flicker. So beautiful. Who is that girl? She seems to be the most beautiful genius of Tsongning Academy, Jade Star Maiden. She seems to be following a youth. That youth seems to be Fei Jinling. What? Fei Jinling. Looking up at the sky, voices could be heard from the streets and alleys. Originally, no one knew who Fei Jinling was. However, a year ago, in order to make a name for himself in the Azure province, Fei Jinling came out in a domineering manner and defeated many experts. He even fought with the White Tiger Immortal Palace's Palace Lord for 3 months. In the end, he narrowly defeated the Palace Lord, Bai Xiaoyang. After this battle, the name of the Flying Gold Plume reached its peak. Everyone knew who he was. Senior brother, you're currently the most monstrous genius in Qing province. Your growth rate is the fastest, and you're already on par with Lin Ling. She was called Jade Star Girl. Although she was the most beautiful genius of the Tsongning Academy, her name was not enough to make her famous in the Qing state. However, a year ago, Fei Jinling appeared in front of her, knelt down on one knee and took the initiative to pursue her. Because of this, she had become famous in the Qing state. She enjoyed all of this and was very excited. Lin Ling. However, Jade Star Girl's words made the young man frown slightly. Yes, Lin Ling is very famous in the Qing state. He has many achievements. It's not easy for senior brother to be on par with him. Jade Star Girl laughed. Ha! The young man also laughed. However, the displeasure in his heart grew stronger. He started from a nameless existence and rose to the top in a single step. In the end, he was worshipped by tens of thousands of people. Moreover, the leader of the giants personally threw an olive branch to him. This made him think that he was #1 in the world. However, no matter how dazzling and monstrous he was, there was still one person above him, and that was Lin Ling. It was as if he could never surpass Lin Ling. No matter how dazzling he was only on par with Lin Ling. He's just lucky. The young man's tone was filled with jealousy. He felt that he had become famous too late. Otherwise, Lin Ling would definitely be below him. If there's a chance, I want to meet Di Shitian and the 81st Prince. As for Meng Lu, he's not my opponent. The young man knew that if he wanted to gain a foothold in the 9 heavenly reports, he would need more battles. Stargirl, I've fallen in love with you since the first time I saw you. Unfortunately, I was very insignificant back then, just like an ant. Now, I'm qualified to hold your hand. Just you wait. I'll become the leader of the 9 heavenly reports. The young man thought to himself and disappeared into the distance with a few people. Are they going to the Five-Ring City? Yes, but I heard that you can't fly in the Five-Ring City. The flying gold plume is an exception. He has such special privileges. Everyone looked at the sky with admiration. They hoped that they could be like the flying gold plume one day, soaring to the sky and shaking the ancient divine prefecture. The flying gold plume story told them that in the world of martial arts, even if one's talent was ordinary, miracles could still happen. Sir, may I know why you've summoned me? At this moment, the flying gold plume had arrived at the Five-Ring City. In a bustling restaurant, he bowed to a middle-aged man. The middle-aged man was holding a brush and drawing a landscape painting. His expression was calm and his every move was filled with the demeanor of a master. He was the left prime minister. Bring some people to the imperial court and see if you can save Luo Xueqi and the others. Finally, the middle-aged man stopped drawing and looked at the flying gold plume kindly. Luo Xueqi? The trash that was caught by Lin Ling? The flying gold plume said disdainfully. Yes, but I was asked by someone to save Luo Xueqi, Sunbone, and Xiong Huang. The three of them were caught by Lin Ling. The middle-aged man said with a smile. Lin Ling has disappeared for 3 years. Maybe he died in the 8 gods' heavenly palace. Since you want to save Luo Xueqi and the others, why do you need me to do it? Others can do it too. The flying gold plume shook his head. Lin Ling might have lost his way in the 8 gods' heavenly palace, or he might be in another place. However, we are certain that he is not dead. This is because someone used the Azure Emperor's scriptures to check and discovered that Lin Ling still has the Son of Heaven fate. The left prime minister shook his head and said, Luo Xueqi and the others were caught by Lin Ling and he wants to get them back. So we just have to try our best. Lin Ling? Is he worthy? The flying gold plume's face darkened. Don't underestimate Lin Ling. He's a great guy. I guess he's stronger than you now. The left prime minister said again. The flying gold plume felt even more uncomfortable. The person he liked compared him to Lin Ling. The left prime minister seemed to have a higher opinion of Lin Ling than him. Go and find the 3rd princess of the imperial court. Ask her for her opinion. I should be the one doing this. But if I do, I'll have to ask the 3rd princess for help. That will make me lose face. So, you're the right person to go. Because of your status, the 3rd princess will meet you. Chapter 2957. Not Giving Face. Yes, sir. Fei Jinling bowed and said. However, he was disdainful as he thought that he could bring Luo Xueqi and the others back. After leaving the restaurant, he immediately summoned the experts of the left prime minister's palace. Even the level 6 and level 7 martial immortals had to listen to him. However, he was only a level 4 martial immortal. This showed how powerful he was. Let's go to the imperial court. He led the experts forward in a grandiose manner, causing the entire Five-Ring City to tremble. Senior brother, you're so cool. Looking at Fei Jinling, who had summoned the experts, the Jade Star Lady said with admiration. This is just the beginning. Fei Jinling looked at the top experts of Qingzhou and was filled with pride. He rode on a golden armored dragon colt and headed toward the imperial court. The 9 heavens of Qingzhou wants to see the 3rd prince. Yes. Before he even arrived, a roar drifted out of his mouth. The ancient mountain where the imperial court was located was in an uproar. Fei Jinling was a rising genius of the 8 gods' heavenly palace. Someone once said that Fei Jinling was the best in terms of opportunities. He was obviously an emperor-level genius who had risen like a comet. Fei Jinling, why have you come to the imperial court? Yes. Not long after, a large number of experts flew out from the imperial court. They were all middle-stage martial immortals and there were many late-stage martial immortals among them. They were all the forces of the imperial court. In Qingzhou, once the imperial court moved, Qingzhou would be shaken. Among them, a woman in a long white dress walked over with graceful steps. She was as cold as a fairy. She was the 3rd princess. When she walked out, all the light in the world seemed to be attracted to her. She was beautiful. Even Fei Jinling's expression changed. He was an ordinary person and was not qualified to see the 3rd princess. Now that he saw her, he realized that the Jade Star Lady beside him was like a firefly compared to the 3rd princess. What's the matter? Looking at Fei Jinling, the 3rd princess said calmly. When Fei Jinling came to his senses, he smiled and said, I didn't expect the third princess to be such a beauty. How dare you? As soon as he finished speaking, angry shouts came from all around. No one had expected the flying gold plume to be so arrogant that he dared to flirt with the third princess. You've already joined the left prime minister's residence. You didn't come here just to see me, did you? However, the third princess was indeed a superior person. She did not get angry at all. She knew that the flying gold plume's strength wasn't bad. Even the White Tiger Divine Palace, one of the 4 great divine palaces in the 4-ring city, wasn't his match. The flying gold plume's strength could be ranked at the top of the Qing province. Hee, of course not. But I'm still flattered that the third princess has come to see me personally. Fei Jinling also smiled faintly. He knew that his strength had increased greatly, so the legendary daughter of Emperor Qing had to give him face. At this moment, he was incomparably proud. Once upon a time, these overlords of the Azure Prefecture were existences that he had to look up to, and even if he looked up to them, he might not be able to see them in person. But now, he could speak face to face with an overlord of the Azure Prefecture. I'm here because I want 3 people. I hope that the third princess can give me face. If you agree, I, Fei Jinling, will owe you a favor. Fei Jinling continued, of course if the third princess wants me to join the imperial court, I can't do it because I joined the left prime minister's residence first. But since I owe the third princess a favor, as long as the third princess asks, I, Fei Jinling, will go through fire and water without hesitation. His words were filled with confidence, which made the eyes of the people of the imperial court flicker. The flying gold plume thought too highly of himself. The third princess didn't even say anything. How could he be so sure that the third princess would recruit him? Then may I know who you want? At this moment, a middle-aged man spoke. It was 8th Ju. Fei Jinling looked at 8th Ju with disdain. He had naturally heard of 8th Ju's name, but he didn't take the current 8th Ju seriously. Luo Sha Thorn, Sun Bone, and Realgar. Fei Jinling said faintly, let the 3 of them go, and I'll owe the imperial court a favor. This will be beneficial to you. Dream on. 8th Ju and the others immediately spoke. They didn't hesitate at all. Because the 3 of them were captured by Lin Ling. If they handed them over, wouldn't they be disrespecting Lin Ling and giving Fei Jinling face instead? Therefore, this was 100 times impossible. I know. They're the people that Lin Ling wants to capture. But the third princess should reconsider. Between me and Lin Ling, who's more valuable? Moreover, you only want the 3 of them. The third princess won't fall out with Lin Ling. Fei Jinling said again. Who do you think you are? Do you think you can get them just because you want them? Get lost now. Otherwise, don't blame us for being merciless. 8th Ju and the others spoke again. Who do you think you are? You're just a bunch of stubborn old men. Don't be fooled by your high cultivation level. In reality, your talents are only so. It'll be difficult for you to break through in your lifetime. Can you compare to me? Moreover, even Meng Lu and Sakura from the imperial court are no match for me. Third princess, you should think about it yourself. Fei Jinling sneered. He wasn't afraid of 8th Ju and the others because he had a large number of people from the left prime minister's residence behind him. Moreover, he believed that the third princess wouldn't offend him easily. Powerful geniuses shouldn't be underestimated. He, Fei Jinling, was going to Jiuzhou in the future while 8th Ju and the others could only stay in Qingzhou. Third princess, what do you think? Fei Jinling asked again as he looked at Jade Star Lady. When he saw the latter's shocked expression, he couldn't help but smile. He knew that Jade Star Lady must have been shocked by his domineering aura. Of course, he retracted his gaze and looked at the third princess. He thought to himself, if I can get the third princess and Jade Star Lady, my life won't be in vain. Why are you so sure that I'll hand them over? At this moment, the third princess finally spoke. Because of my name, Fei Jinling. Fei Jinling lifted his chin and said proudly. Hearing that, the third princess couldn't help but smile. In fact, if you want the others, I might hand them over because of your reputation. However, it's a pity that it's impossible for the 3 of them. What a joke. Lin Ling's strength is on par with mine. Do you think the 3 of them will make things difficult for you? Hearing that, Fei Jinling's face turned ghastly pale. He felt that he had been defeated by Lin Ling again. You can go back now. Seeing that the four overlords are minding their own business, I'll ignore your ignorance. However, if you bring up the previous topic again, don't blame me for being ruthless. The third princess said again with a firm attitude. Third princess, you. Hearing that, Fei Jinling's eyes finally lit up. He had given her enough face. As long as the third princess let them go, he would owe the third princess a favor. However, who knew that the third princess would reject him so heartlessly? The reason was Lin Ling. Chapter 2958. Lin Ling had returned. But now, the flying gold plume didn't want to leave at all because he knew that the entire Qing prefecture was watching him. If he were to return in failure, then he would lose all face. Even the Jade Star Maiden would look down on him because he had boasted before that he would be able to easily take away 3 people. While his mind was filled with thoughts, disdainful voices rang out at an inappropriate time. Haha, flying gold plume, your face is obviously worthless. Some people thought that the entire Qingzhou would give them face after they made a name for themselves. In the end, they were given the cold shoulder. In my opinion, some people think too highly of themselves. Does he think he's Lin Ling? Just because he's Lin Ling, he's qualified to speak with the leaders of the major powers. He's not qualified. The people who spoke were Lord Eighth and the others. All of them were gloating. This made the flying gold plume's face reveal an ominous glint. Ever since his meteoric rise, he had never been so humiliated. Senior brother, let's go back. Lord Left Minister said that it's fine as long as we can get him, but it doesn't matter if we can't. However, what made Fei Jinling even more furious was that the Jade Star Maiden next to him also tried to persuade him. Her words seemed to be sympathizing with him, causing him to feel humiliated. However, even though he was strong, he couldn't shake the imperial court. Thus, he gritted his teeth and left. Haha. This time, Lord Eighth and the others laughed even louder. Their laughter was like a knife, ruthlessly cutting into Fei Jinling's heart. I can't accept this. Fei Jinling roared in his heart and strode away. However, after returning to Five Ring City, he still couldn't swallow his anger. After pondering for a while, he decided to go to the rainforest's sacred land alone without informing anyone. He wanted to bring the 3 of them back. He didn't believe that once the rice was cooked, the imperial dynasty would really dare to touch him. Moreover, even if the imperial dynasty was furious, the left minister would still attack. He, the flying gold plume, had the right to do so. The left prime minister would definitely not let anything happen to him. When he arrived at the sacred ground of the rainforest, he looked at the empty land. His gaze finally landed on 2 huge stone tablets. Beside the stone tablets was a person tied up. It was Luo Xueqi. It's just 3 of them. How can I not bring them back? Looking at the ground, Fei Jinling's lips curled into a smile. Senior brother, don't be rash. The minister of the left said that it doesn't matter if we can't bring him back. But at this moment, a figure appeared beside him. It was the Jade Star Maiden. She quickly grabbed Fei Jinling. The left prime minister has indeed said so. However, he also expects me to complete the task. Now that I have failed, although the left prime minister will not say anything, I will not be able to put my face down. The warriors of Qing province will also laugh at me. The flying gold plume looked at the Jade Star Maiden unwillingly. What's the point? The third princess has already said it. If it was something else, she would agree. But this matter is impossible. This shows how important these 3 people are. Why offend Lin Ling for them? Lin Ling isn't someone to be trifled with. Everyone in Qing Prefecture knows this. Even the leaders of the major powers have to give face to Lin Ling. The Jade Star Lady explained clearly, bullshit. Lin Ling again. Lin Ling again. Who does he think he is? Who knew that it would have been better if she hadn't said anything? After she did, the flying gold plume seemed to have lost its mind. Save me. Save me. Luo Xueqi shouted weakly. Don't worry. If I want to save someone, no one can stop me. If you anger me, I'll turn Qingzhou upside down. The Heavens Prime Minister said arrogantly. He waved his right hand and a gust of wind enveloped the huge stone tablets. Then he strode back to Qingzhou. Senior brother. The Heavens Prime Minister looked at the Heavens Prime Minister and panicked. She had a feeling that the Heavens Prime Minister was in trouble. Although she felt that the Heavens Prime Minister was powerful, She still felt that Lin Ling was more powerful than Lin Ling. Meanwhile, the flying golden feather continued to move forward while laughing loudly. It was incomparably domineering as it carried the 2 stone tablets through the sky, shocking all of Green Province. What happened? That expert seems to be one of the 9 Heavens Prime Ministers. I heard that he went to the Imperial Court to ask for them but returned in disgrace. Did he take them away by force? How arrogant. He's the second person after Lin Ling to not give face to the Heavens Prime Minister. At this moment, the ancient Qing province was moving. Everyone gasped. Lin Ling was in front of them and the Heavens Prime Minister was behind them. Both of them were the overlords of Qingzhou. What? At this moment, the people of the Imperial Court also received the news. They were all furious. The Heavens Prime Minister thought too highly of himself. Was he trying to provoke the Imperial Court? The Heavens Prime Minister defeated by Xiaoyang from Four Ring City. He's strong, but he's too arrogant. Even the third princess was furious. She didn't expect the Heavens Prime Minister to be so arrogant. Third princess, Lin Ling should be back soon. If he sees this when he returns, he'll be furious. So we must bring the 3 people back before he returns. Many people in the Imperial Court said, that's for sure. I'd like to see if the left Prime Minister and the Empress Dowager dare to step in when I, the third princess, attack the Heavens Prime Minister. The third princess looked into the distance coldly. She knew that the Empress Dowager was the one who gave the order to get the 3 people back. The Empress Dowager was the mastermind behind the left Prime Minister's residence. What's going on? You look like you're facing a great enemy. At this moment, a figure walked over under the bright sun. His blue robe fluttered in the air and he was extremely dazzling. Lin Ling. Everyone laughed excitedly when they saw the person who suddenly appeared. Although they knew that Lin Ling would return, they didn't expect him to come back at this moment. When they saw Lin Ling's return, it was as if they saw Grandma Wendao. In the Imperial Court, Lin Ling's status was comparable to Grandma Wendao and the third princess. Even the third princess couldn't help but laugh. She shouted, Master. I've already said that I haven't agreed to accept you as my disciple. Lin Ling smiled. He walked down from the sky and landed on the Green Mountain. Lord 8th, Qi Yuhu, and the others looked at Lin Ling. They realized that Lin Ling's cultivation had reached level 2 martial immortal realm. Although his cultivation wasn't high, Lin Ling gave them a great pressure. The current Lin Ling would probably only be a match for the most powerful people in Qingzhou. Then, they roughly explained what had happened in the past 3 years. However, when they talked about Sunbone and the other 2, their expressions changed. They stared at Lin Ling as if they were afraid that Lin Ling would be infuriated. However, Lin Ling was stunned. Then, he smiled calmly. He wasn't angry at all. What a bold junior. Don't worry. I'll settle this myself. Moreover, I'll go and collect some old debts. Chapter 2959. None of your business. If it was in the past, he would have asked the Imperial Court for help. But now he could solve it himself. He was even looking forward to meeting the last few people from the 9 Heavens, as well as the few experts behind the scenes in Qingzhou. Everyone looked at Lin Ling in shock. They realized that Lin Ling was very calm. He was confident that he could control Qingzhou easily. He Shaoli, go ahead. At this moment, a faint voice was heard. Lin Ling knew that it was Grandma Wendao. Apparently, Grandma Wendao was also curious about Lin Ling's current level. Tell me the whereabouts of that Fei-something guy. Also, tell the left Prime Minister that I've killed him for him. I won't pursue this matter with him because he knows how to do it. But next time, if you really want to make a move on me, ask the person behind this to come out. Lin Ling had already decided to leave. He smiled and said to the third princess. Moreover, he had also decided to settle the matter of the Sovereign Marquis and Leiyin Manor. All right. The third princess nodded. She looked at Lin Ling's departure with excitement in her eyes. She suddenly felt that whether she could become the Emperor Qing depended on Lin Ling. She couldn't help but admire Grandma Wendao even more. That was because she was the one who recommended Lin Ling to her. Lin Ling is back. Sakura, Meng Lu, and the rest should be out of seclusion. The third princess said again. Currently, the Imperial Court had 3 heavens. They had the strongest potential among the 4 magnates, especially Lin Ling. He was the flag of the imperial court. At this moment, Lin Ling was walking towards the Flying Gold Plume's residence. As for the left Prime Minister's residence, they had also received news that the Flying Gold Plume had forcefully taken someone away. The left Prime Minister was furious and smashed the table into pieces. This Flying Gold Plume doesn't respect me at all. I've already said that if he can bring someone back, he will. If he can't use force. Isn't this forcing Lin Ling to go against the left Prime Minister's residence? Currently, the third princess has the strongest son of heaven's fate. Moreover, she has many experts. If the Empress Dowager doesn't step in, the third princess will definitely become the Emperor Qing. This is obviously not the right time to go against the imperial court. Sir, it's best to ask the Flying Gold Plume's residence. The others also chimed in one after another. My lord, bad news. Lin Ling is back. Suddenly, an anxious voice could be heard, causing the faces of the magnates to change. Damn it! Why does he have to come back at this time? What did Lin Ling say? The left Prime Minister's expression was extremely ugly. Although he wasn't afraid of Lin Ling, this wasn't the right time to go against the imperial court. Moreover, he had witnessed Lin Ling's courage. In the Eight Gods' heavenly palace, he dared to provoke the leader of the magnates when he was only an early martial immortal. Such a person could do anything when he was angry. He said that this matter has nothing to do with the left Prime Minister's residence. He won't hold it against the left Prime Minister's residence for the time being. He also reminded us that the next time we attack Lin Ling, it's best to let the mastermind step in. The person said with a terrified expression. Hearing that, the magnates heaved a sigh of relief. Even the left Prime Minister was the same. However, his expression was still ugly. A mere Lin Ling dared to speak to him in such a tone. He didn't put the left Prime Minister in his eyes at all. When the others came to their senses, their eyes turned red with anger. It's okay. We'll bear with it for now. As long as the Empress Dowager gives the order, we can attack Lin Ling. The left Prime Minister gritted his teeth and said. At that moment, Lin Ling was walking along the Five-Ring City. Before he reached Fei Jinling's residence, several figures caught up with him. They were Sakura, Meng Lu, and Xian Linglong. I've already said that I can deal with this matter myself. Seeing their arrival, Lin Ling couldn't help but shake his head and smile. Bullshit. Second brother. How can I miss out on such a lively event? I've long disliked the Flying Golden Plume. If I wasn't in seclusion, I would like to see how powerful this guy is. Sakura immediately said. In fact, he could have been in seclusion for a longer time. However, after hearing the news that Lin Ling had returned, he immediately came out of seclusion. Lin Ling glanced at his brother and found that Sakura had reached level 4 martial immortal realm. Moreover, his aura was vigorous. It seemed that his true god martial spirit had undergone some changes. That's right. If we're talking about the most monstrous genius in Qingzhou, I'm only convinced by Lin Ling. Even if the others are rising like comets, they're still useless. Meng Lu also said with a smile. His strength had also greatly increased. Looking at Xian Linglong, she was also the same. If that's the case, let's go together. Anyway, it's not a big deal. Lin Ling said indifferently, however, I'll deal with Fei Jinling myself because he's touched my reverse scale. Alright. The three of them nodded. The place where the Flying Gold Plume was located was a majestic palace. At this moment, many experts from various places had arrived and were flattering him happily. For the experts, Fei Jinling was the future of Qingzhou. If they didn't flatter him now, when would they? Rumble. However, Lin Ling arrived and smashed the entire palace into pieces with a gentle slap. Fei Jinling, right? Lin Ling, I'm here for you. His casual words resounded in Five-Ring City, causing the entire city to move. The authoritative figures also started to pay attention to this place. They didn't expect Lin Ling to be so arrogant and find Fei Jinling so calmly. Could it be that Lin Ling ignored all the hidden experts in Qingzhou? I knew that Lin Ling would definitely come back. Fei Jinling is too arrogant. He's obviously provoking Lin Ling. How can Lin Ling not do anything? Among the 9 heavens of Qingzhou, excluding the 4 most mysterious ones, Lin Ling is the strongest. The news of Lin Ling destroying the palace spread like a snowball in Qingzhou. That was because Lin Ling was too overbearing. He was afraid that no one in Qingzhou would know that he was back. In fact, The reason why Lin Ling was so arrogant was because he wanted to lure out the hidden experts of Qing Prefecture. After all, apart from the leader of the three magnates, he didn't care about the rest of the experts who had revealed themselves. However, Qingzhou was vast. The real experts weren't as simple as they looked. Lin Ling knew that very well. Lin Ling, you're Lin Ling? You've gone too far. Can't you talk things out? Why are you messing with us? A large number of experts rushed out from the broken palace. There were initial martial celestials and middle martial celestials. They all looked at Lin Ling furiously. It's none of your business. Lin Ling floated in the sky and smiled coldly. He didn't say anything and turned into a meteor to attack those experts. Rumble! With one punch, the experts who were dissatisfied were all smashed into pieces. They couldn't be stopped. Not to mention the current Lin Ling. Even if Lin Ling was in the Eight Gods' heavenly palace, he wouldn't be afraid of those old monsters. Seeing that overbearing punch, the remaining experts didn't dare to say anything. In fact, although they were angry, they didn't dare to go too far. Chapter 2960. Azura's Arm. I don't like to listen to nonsense. If words can't solve a problem, I'll solve it with my fists. Who else is unhappy? Lin Ling floated in the sky, waved his fist, and looked indifferently at the ambitious and ruthless people. I don't care about this anymore. Your Excellency Lin Ling, do as you wish. The heroes pondered for a moment and left the place. What a joke. If they continued to nag, Lin Ling would kill them. They had also heard of Lin Ling's arrogance in the Eight Gods' heavenly palace. In addition, with Lin Ling's status in the imperial court, offending Lin Ling was the same as offending the imperial court. Therefore they were not stupid. However, they watched from afar, wanting to see how the two comet-like geniuses would clash. One was the most monstrous genius in the past, Lin Ling. The other was the comet-flying golden plume who rose after the Eight Gods' heavenly palace. There was no doubt about their strength, but who was stronger? I think the flying golden plume is stronger. After all, he defeated by Xiaoyang of the White Tiger Divine Palace. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Lin Ling also killed the Azure Dragon King. Discussions could be heard at the same time. Even Indra, Meng Lu, and the others were chatting with each other in a carefree manner. Meng Lu, how many moves do you think Lin Ling will take to win? Within 10 moves, Lin Ling will kill the flying golden plume. 10 moves? I think 3 moves. The two of them talked without restraint, causing everyone to look at them in awe. They knew that these two were not to be underestimated among the 9 heavens of Qing province. On the ground, the flying golden plume had already appeared, looking coldly at the sky. He did not expect Lin Ling to come, and he did not expect Lin Ling to be so arrogant, especially when he heard the conversation between Meng Lu and the others. He was so angry that his face turned gloomy. He had defeated by Xiaoyang before, so how could he be defeated in 3 moves like this? Senior brother, why don't you apologize? What makes him even angrier is that the Jade Star Maiden beside him also thinks highly of Lin Ling and actually wants him to apologize. Shut up. The flying gold plume could no longer hold back. You're called Flying Gold Plume, right? I have no enmity with you, but you forcefully took my people away. Don't you know that this is provoking me? At this moment, Lin Ling's voice rang out. So what? Fei Jinling raised his head and said with a strong aura. Nothing. I just feel that you're so weak yet so arrogant. Don't you think you're courting death? Lin Ling said calmly. Bullshit. When the flying gold plume heard those disdainful words, he was so angry that he roared. I know that you've had a fortuitous encounter in the Eight Gods' heavenly palace, and that has boosted your confidence. You want to stand tall in Qingzhou and tell everyone that life is full of ups and downs. I don't object to that, but I don't understand. Do you think you'll be famous in Qingzhou after taking my people away? Lin Ling said again. When he saw the flying gold plume sneering, he continued, it's better to be down to earth on the path of martial arts. You can reach the heavens in a single bound, but not too many. Nonsense. Didn't you, Lin Ling, reach the heavens in a single bound? Hearing that, the flying gold plume sneered and said disdainfully, Hee, it seems that you still don't understand. Do you think that I, Lin Ling, reached the heavens in a single bound? I've fought countless battles in Qingzhou, and I've risen step by step. Hearing that, Lin Ling shook his head. I've said that you talk too much nonsense. If you only rely on your mouth to become one of the 9 heavens of Qingzhou, then you'd better admit defeat. The flying gold plume smirked and said indifferently. When he saw Lin Ling shaking his head, he thought that Lin Ling couldn't refute him. This made him feel ashamed. Unfortunately, he didn't know that Lin Ling shook his head because Lin Ling felt that there was no need for him to nag anymore. They said that you can defeat me in 3 moves. I think that's a joke. In 3 moves, I want you, Lin Ling, to be defeated. Moreover, I want the entire Qingzhou to witness this earth-shattering battle. The flying gold plume floated up, and his realm essence surged like the water of the heavenly river. I did have a fortuitous encounter in the 8 gods' heavenly palace. When I defeated the master of the White Tiger Immortal Mansion, I didn't use my full strength. Now, I'll show Qingzhou how powerful I am. Behind him, a blood-red light shot up into the sky, forming circles of light ripples that enveloped the entire Qingzhou. At the same time, an arm floated up from behind him. This arm was covered in blood, as though it had just been cut off. However, the moment he appeared, the flying gold plume's aura changed. As he moved, the blood-red light turned the sky into a blood-red color. A large number of buildings in the 5-ring city exploded instantly, forming an indescribable pressure field. Around them, the faces of the old monsters changed drastically. What arm is that? I'm afraid it's a very high-level divine body. Everyone felt that it was difficult to breathe. They guessed that this was a pressure that came from the innate talent. Unless their cultivation was higher, or their ultimate martial Tao was stronger, they wouldn't be able to resist the pressure. You're quite capable. Even Meng Lu's eyes flickered. The pinnacle of the divine body. Sakura also guessed. He didn't expect that although the flying gold plume was arrogant, he was indeed capable. Ha ha ha, the 2 of you aren't blind. At this moment, the flying gold plume spoke faintly, but his expression was extremely mysterious. He knew that everyone in Qingzhou was curious about what kind of divine body he had obtained. Lin Ling, are you afraid now? However, the flying gold plume didn't intend to reveal the answer immediately. Instead, he looked at Lin Ling and sneered. Azura's arm. However, just as he finished speaking, Lin Ling shook his head and said, So, this is your trump card. This undoubtedly caused the flying gold plume's heart to thump. Originally, he thought that Lin Ling would treat him seriously and be wary of his divine body. However, who knew that Lin Ling had guessed the origin of his divine body and was still so calm? So what? Lin Ling, I know that you've cultivated the Azura sword formation before. However, do you know that the master of this sword formation is the Azura King? When your sword met my Azura's arm, it was as if it met its master. Are you afraid? Do you regret it? Since Lin Ling knew about it, the flying gold plume didn't intend to hide anything. He stepped forward and said, Do you know? I'm already very strong. However, in the eyes of the people in Qingzhou, I'm only as strong as you. What makes you think you are? So, this is the reason why you're courting death. Hearing this, Lin Ling shook his head again and said, However, if you want to know what makes me think I am, I'll tell you. Roar! The realm-devouring beast appeared behind Lin Ling, causing the wind and clouds in the sky to rumble. Now that his godly demon body was enhanced, his physical strength was extremely terrifying. He quickly shot towards the flying gold plume like a ferocious beast in the sky. Trash talent. Chapter 2961. Defeated with a single punch. If you want to defeat me with that talent, let me tell you, you're still too young. The most terrifying thing was that the flying gold plume had used the Azura arm for the first seal. In the sky, the blood-red color began to surge like a sea current and turned into a huge blood-red palm. It followed closely behind the flying golden plume and grabbed at Lin Ling. At that moment, the palm was like the Azura King. So powerful, the flying gold plume's strength has greatly surpassed the 4 symbols Holy Mansion Master. Seeing that, the people were shocked. The flying gold plume was one of the most demonic geniuses in Qingzhou. Although he had only been famous for a short period of time, even shorter than Lin Ling, he deserved the title. Maybe Lin Ling won't be able to defeat him. Someone said. It was the Marquis of Sovereign Justice and other top powers. Obviously, they had also come because of the fame. Especially when they saw Lin Ling's terrifying aura, their faces turned pale. That was because they felt that Lin Ling was like the arrival of Emperor Qing. However, after seeing the flying gold plume's bloody palm, their confidence was boosted. The flying gold plume should not be weaker than Lin Ling. The peak divine body was definitely worthy of its reputation. Moreover, it was the Azura King's arm. If the flying gold plume obtained the other arm of the Azura King and even the complete body of the Azura King, the flying gold plume would have the chance to become a god. Under countless gazes, the two figures collided violently. Rumble! The intense power of the collision directly broke the five-ring city. Sakura and Meng Lu looked grave. They realized that they had underestimated the flying gold plume. It might be difficult for Lin Ling to defeat the flying gold plume in 3 moves. Even within 10 moves, they would be evenly matched. Both of them are Emperor-level geniuses. They can defeat a rank 6 martial immortal when they are only initial stage martial immortals. I wonder who is more powerful in this collision. Many old monsters said solemnly. Rumble! However, as soon as they finished speaking, a figure crashed onto the ground like a meteor. The ground of the five-ring city was like waves, rolling out layer by layer. Boom! In the end, a huge crater that looked like it was hit by a meteorite appeared and it kept cracking. Do you want to know why? Just based on this. At the same time, a figure floated above the huge pit, waving his fists, telling the people in the pit that he relied on his fists. As for that figure, his blue robe fluttered in the wind. It was Lin Ling. 1 move. At this moment, everyone was shocked, unable to believe the result before their eyes. Even Dream Flow and the others were the same. Originally, they had estimated that Lin Ling could defeat the Flying Golden Plume in 3 moves. However, the Flying Golden Plume had obtained the arm of Shenming Demon God, which changed the situation of the battle. Even they felt that it would be difficult for Lin Ling to win. However, they now knew that they had overestimated the Flying Gold Plume and underestimated Lin Ling. That was because he only needed 1 move to defeat the Flying Jinling. Whoosh! Lin Ling landed on the ground and then floated up, holding a figure in his hand. It was the Flying Golden Plume. At this moment, his chest had been penetrated by a punch. He kept vomiting blood and his face was extremely pale. However, his eyes were filled with disbelief as he looked at Lin Ling. Impossible! How could this be? He had such powerful talents. How could he be defeated by Lin Ling in 1 move? You're really stupid. Even the residence of the left Prime Minister doesn't dare to provoke me. Why did you come here to seek your own death? Look around and see if there are people from the residence of the left Prime Minister. Lin Ling held the Flying Golden Plume and said calmly. The Flying Golden Plume looked around. However, there were no people from the residence of the left Prime Minister. He suddenly recalled the residence of the left Prime Minister's instructions. If he could get the person, he should do so. If he couldn't, he should give up. Do you understand now? Because they are also afraid of me. Lin Ling said again when he noticed the Flying Golden Plume's gaze. Lin Ling looked calm and said, You think you're powerful because you have the peak divine body. However, all of this is child's play to me. You can't even take a punch from me. You'd better not be one of the 9 heavens in Qingzhou. Hearing those words, the Flying Golden Plume's eyes trembled. Why is Lin Ling so powerful? Unfortunately, your talents are not limited to this. If you keep a low profile, you will have a bright future. Continue. The Flying Golden Plume finally panicked because of what Lin Ling said. He was not in a hurry to provoke Lin Ling. In the future, he might be able to surpass Lin Ling. However, he was in too much of a hurry. No. Continue. He shouted out a single sentence. Bang. However, Lin Ling gave him a punch and destroyed him. Blood splattered on the ground like rain. The Flying Golden Plume had the peak divine body, but so did Lin Ling. The Flying Golden Plume's cultivation was at level 4 martial immortal realm. However, Lin Ling's 3 dantians had merged together. His strength was at level 6 martial immortal realm. Coupled with the strength of his physical body and the power of the universe, the Flying Golden Plume could not withstand a single blow. Looking at the blood splattering from the sky, the crowd was shocked. Lin Ling was too domineering. He defeated the Flying Golden Plume with a single blow. This straightforward result was far beyond their imagination. As they stared at Lin Ling, the crowd realized that the young man in the sky was majestic and he looked down on the world. Among the 9 heavens of the Qingzhou, Lin Ling is still ranked 5th. Fei Jinling has accumulated a lot of experience and is an unparalleled divine talent. However, compared to Lin Ling, he is still inferior. Meng Lu muttered to himself with a trembling voice. This guy is so strong that even I can't see through him. I wonder if he is using his full strength or 80% of his strength. Sakura shook his head helplessly. The crowd looked at Lin Ling and did not dare to say a word. Senior Lin Ling, the flying golden plumes matter has nothing to do with me. I will bring the sand thorn and the other two out immediately. At this time, the Jade Star Maiden hurriedly said. She was deeply afraid that Lin Ling would also kill her. Then she ran towards the distance, using her Jie Yuan to drag the two huge stone tablets and Luo Sha thorn, quickly running out. Lin Ling. When Luo Sha Ci saw Lin Ling, his face turned extremely ugly. He looked around and his face turned ashen instantly. Although the flying golden plume had saved him, he had a feeling that the flying golden plume could not save them. It seemed that it was true. You can't run away. Lin Ling walked towards Luo Sha Ci with a calm expression. Luo Sha Ci clenched his teeth. This junior from the 8 Gods' heavenly palace could easily take his life now. If Luo Sha Ci wanted to capture him alive, none of the magnates in the Qing prefecture would dare to stop him. This change made the sand thorn feel like he was dreaming. Senior Lin Ling, this matter has nothing to do with me. At this moment, the Jade Star Lady still did not dare to look at Lin Ling. She bowed and said, revealing a large patch of her snow-white chest. I know. You can leave now. Lin Ling glanced at her and said indifferently. Thank you, Senior Lin Ling. However, my name is the Jade Star Lady. I admire Senior Lin Ling the most. I wonder if you can do it. The Jade Star Lady's face turned red. She finally looked at Lin Ling and said, although the flying golden plume was dead, if Lin Ling took a fancy to her, her future would be magnificent. Get lost. However, Lin Ling said coldly. The Jade Star Lady's face froze. Lin Ling asked her to get lost. Chapter 2962. She didn't dare to resist. This guy. The Sakura shook his head helplessly. Lin Ling didn't know how to be gentle with women. If I repeat what I said a second time, you will die. Lin Ling ignored the Jade Star Maiden and said again. The Jade Star Maiden felt that she had lost all her face. She gritted her teeth and flew towards the sky. She had taken the initiative to throw herself into his arms, but she had received such treatment. Her dignity seemed to have been humiliated. Unfortunately, she didn't know that Lin Ling hated people like her the most. When the flying gold plume was strong, she tried to curry favor with him. Now that the flying gold plume was dead, she tried to curry favor with him. Lin Ling already had a wife and children. Even if he didn't, he wouldn't even look at the flying gold plume. The people around and all the martial artists in Qingzhou were looking at Lin Ling. They were still silent, but some people started to leave quietly. Marquis Sovereign, do you want to leave? However, just as those people were about to leave, Lin Ling had already spoken. This made the Marquis Sovereign, who was hidden in the crowd, tremble. His expression turned ugly. Come out. What kind of person are you to hide? Before the Marquis Sovereign could speak, Lin Ling spoke again with a calm expression. However, although his words were calm, they were like brilliant heavenly might. If the Marquis Sovereign wanted to come out, he had to come out. This kind of arrogant and overbearing attitude undoubtedly infuriated the Sovereign Marquis. However, he couldn't do anything. This was because he had already fought with Lin Ling in the 8 Gods' heavenly palace. He knew how ferocious this guy was. I'll give you 3 breaths of time. If you don't come out, don't blame me for being heartless. Although you are a formidable person in Qingzhou and can shake the entire Qingzhou with a single move, if I, Lin Ling, want to touch you, I'm afraid you won't have any power to resist. Lin Ling said again. As soon as this sentence was said, Lin Ling was like the leader of a giant. Moreover, this calm voice floated in the sky of Qingzhou, causing the expressions of countless people to change drastically. The dignified Marquis of Sovereign Heaven had met Lin Ling. Could he only be humiliated like this? Lin Ling, what's the matter? The Sovereign Marquis knew that Lin Ling had already targeted him. He had no choice but to come out. Therefore, he endured the humiliation and walked out step by step. You came out too late. Give me a bow. Lin Ling looked at the Sovereign Marquis calmly and suddenly spoke. Upon hearing this, The Marquis of Sovereign Justice narrowed his eyes. Lin Ling was arrogantly telling him to bow? Veins immediately popped out on his forehead, and his eyes turned red. However, when his gaze met Lin Ling's, he realized that Lin Ling's gaze had turned cold. Sorry, I'm late. For some reason, the Marquis of Sovereign Justice bowed. Perhaps he was really afraid of that pair of eyes. The experts around were shocked. Even the giants of Five Ring City were shocked. They didn't expect that when the Marquis of Sovereign Justice met Lin Ling, he wouldn't dare to resist at all. He would do whatever Lin Ling wanted him to do. This change made them feel that it was very unreal. This was because even if the Marquis of Sovereign Justice exchanged a few blows with Lin Ling, or even resisted a few words, it would have been good enough. However, there was no resistance at all. Very good. Lin Ling wasn't surprised by the Marquis of Sovereign Justice's attitude. This person was ambitious and knew when to yield and when to stand tall. Naturally, he wouldn't confront him head-on. Moreover, Lin Ling also knew that if the Marquis of Sovereign Justice confronted him head-on, then Lin Ling would be able to beat him up like a dog. In fact, Lin Ling was also looking forward to the Marquis of Sovereign Justice being arrogant. Unfortunately, the Marquis of Sovereign Justice didn't dare to be arrogant. In the past, when I went to the two commanderies for the first time, you stopped me halfway and asked me for a person. Now where is that person? I want her back from you. Lin Ling said again with a faint smile. Threatening the Marquis of Sovereign Justice was as easy as drinking water. Hearing this, the Marquis of Sovereign Justice's face turned ferocious, but he held it in. He smiled and said, Queen Qianji disappeared a long time ago. I haven't been able to find her. Lin Ling, I didn't do anything to Queen Qianji, so I hope you won't target me. At the end of his sentence, he bowed and saluted. However, the humiliation in his heart turned into a monstrous wave, especially when Lin Ling talked about the past. At that time, Lin Ling was like an ant in his eyes. But now he was the ant. Lin Ling already knew that the Marquis of Sovereign Justice failed to capture the Queen of Qianji. However, he shook his head and said, I don't care about that. Since you took her away from me, you have to return her. As for how you're going to bring her back, that's up to you. Hearing this, the Marquis of Sovereign Justice raised his head and gritted his teeth. If he knew where Queen Qianji was, he would have caught her a long time ago. So, Lin Ling's request was even harder than reaching the heavens. Don't test my patience. When I, Lin Ling, am really angry, no one can save you. Not the 4 magnates behind you, not the 99 crown princes, not the left prime minister, not even the prime minister. Lin Ling said again. His tone was filled with authority. He said it in front of everyone in Qingzhou. He didn't give anyone face. Everyone was stunned when they heard that. Even the leaders of the overlords hiding in the Qing prefecture were stunned. Their expressions turned ugly after that. Was Lin Ling trying to tell everyone that the leader of the magnates was nothing but a fart in his eyes? I don't know. I really don't know. Lin Ling, don't force me. The Marquis of Sovereign Justice was completely flustered. It seems like you really don't know any better. Lin Ling took a step forward and appeared in front of the Marquis of Sovereign Justice. He looked down at him and slowly stretched out his right hand, wanting to slap him. Seeing this, the Marquis of Sovereign Justice immediately unleashed his boundary essence. Try it. However, just as the Marquis of Sovereign Justice was about to resist, Lin Ling stared at him, causing the Marquis of Sovereign Justice's expression to change. He immediately retracted all his boundary essence and didn't dare to resist at all. Slap. A slap landed on the Marquis of Sovereign Justice's face. Aren't you very arrogant? You kept provoking me. Where is your confidence now? Didn't you ask me to hand her over? Now where did that arrogance go? Aren't you someone that the Emperor Qing values? Why isn't your father here? Slap, slap, slap. The crisp sound of the slap was like thunder. It landed on the Marquis of Sovereign Justice's face, causing his face to turn green and red. He wanted to resist a few times, but in the end, he endured it. That was because he didn't know if Lin Ling would kill him. However, if he resisted, Lin Ling would definitely kill him. The magnates of Qingzhou didn't appear at this moment. Obviously, they were also afraid of Lin Ling. Therefore, the Marquis of Sovereign Justice knew that he was alone and helpless at this moment. What a tragedy. He was slapped in the face just like that. He didn't even dare to resist. Seeing that refreshing scene, many old monsters sighed and shook their heads. In front of Lin Ling, the Marquis of Sovereign Justice was like a slave. Lin Ling, you're very impressive. You came back so arrogantly. Do you want to move the powerhouse behind Qingzhou? You don't know that if you're too arrogant, you'll become a thorn in their side. However, at this moment, someone finally appeared. Chapter 2963. The 9 heavens of Qing province announced the arrival of imperial concubine Shi. The person in the sky was a delicate beauty. She wore a long pink dress and had a slender figure. Her long hair draped over her back and was gently tied up with a pink ribbon. Behind her, there was a mist of clouds. She was incomparably beautiful. Her appearance was so beautiful that it was impossible to look at her directly. This time, everyone was greatly shocked. This was because they had never seen this woman who could make the sun and moon lose their light. However, they were certain that since this person had arrived at such a critical moment, his strength was definitely at the top of the azure state. It's her! Sakura and the rest all reacted because that was the Xueqi they saw in Wake Dragon Palace. You're finally here. However, when he saw Xueqi, Lin Ling's expression didn't change at all. You think I'm arrogant, but have you ever thought that I did it on purpose? Hearing Lin Ling's words, Xueqi's eyes flashed. She thought that Lin Ling didn't know the depth of Qing province, so he was arrogant. But who knew that Lin Ling was doing it on purpose? This made her unable to guess Lin Ling's intentions. Was it the imperial dynasty's idea? For a moment she fell silent. However, the sovereign Marquis's eyes kept flickering as if he had seen his savior. Marquis of Sovereign Heaven, you are very happy, right? Someone has finally come to save you. However, you don't seem to know who she is. Then let me tell you. She is Xueqi, one of the 9 heavenly emblems of Qing province. She is also one of the 4 hidden heavenly emblems. Rumor has it that she is an expert who has talked to Qing Di Yi. Lin Ling turned to look at the sovereign Marquis. The sovereign Marquis was overjoyed. The most mysterious 4 out of the 9 heavens of the Green Prefecture were so strong that they were almost as strong as the leader of the magnates. With the help of such experts, Lin Ling would definitely be helpless. But let me remind you, it's useless even if she comes. You stay here. After I deal with her, I'll catch up with you. However, Lin Ling said such a sentence, and said it so casually. This time, the sovereign Marquis's heart was pounding. Could it be that Lin Ling wanted to defeat the most mysterious 4 people? Even the surrounding people were shocked. Lin Ling gave them the feeling that he had long known that this would happen. At this moment, not just them, even the giants couldn't see through Lin Ling. How was this Lin Ling a young genius? He was more like the Azure Emperor. Lin Ling's arrogance was naturally intentional. He walked toward Xueqi and said, Xueqi, this seems to be the first time we've met, but you seem to be targeting me. Xueqi quietly looked at Lin Ling. She discovered that Lin Ling's strength had increased, but it wasn't enough to make her fear him. Therefore, she guessed that there must be someone behind Lin Ling. I'm just following orders. Xueqi also spoke. She wanted to let the person behind Lin Ling know that she also had someone behind her. Lin Ling stopped in the sky and said calmly, I see. You probably want to kill me too, right? Unfortunately, although I don't know who's behind you, I know that his actions aren't good. What's wrong? Xueqi frowned slightly, but then she heard Lin Ling laugh, because he's killing you. As soon as these words came out, Xueqi's eyes narrowed. You're saying that the person behind you wants to attack me? That mysterious grandma? She obviously knew that the person behind the imperial court was Grandma Wendao, and she was naturally afraid of Grandma Wendao's strength. However, after hearing her words, Lin Ling's calm face revealed a smile. Ha ha ha, I really don't know what you're thinking. Do you need the person behind the imperial court to attack a mere Xueqi? You think too highly of yourself. I don't have anyone behind me, just me, and I'm enough. You're not talking in your sleep. Hearing this, Xueqi was stunned in disbelief. People also couldn't believe it. The most mysterious 4 great heavenly gifts had appeared, and Lin Ling actually said that he was enough. In Qingzhou, even a 10-year-old child knew that the more low-key and mysterious a heavenly gift was, the stronger it was, and the more famous it was, the weaker it was. Do you think I'm joking? Now, I'll give you one last chance. Apologize for what happened last time and I'll spare your life. Otherwise, You'll die today. Lin Ling spat out these words calmly, but his words were filled with murderous intent. Hearing this, Xueqi couldn't help but laugh. Her laughter was so beautiful that it made the world lose its light. Even people were surprised by Lin Ling's words. Could it be that Lin Ling wanted to kill Xueqi? He must be bragging. Don't tell me you want to kill me with one punch, Xueqi said jokingly after laughing loudly. In the past, she had fought with Lin Ling, so she knew how powerful Lin Ling was. Now, she believed that Lin Ling was no match for her at all. That's not it. I'm not that arrogant. Lin Ling smiled and replied calmly. His words made people nod. That was the truth. However, at the next moment, Lin Ling's voice floated out again. If one punch can't do it, one sword can. Boom. Everyone's hearts exploded. What was the difference between one punch and one sword? Wasn't it just one move? Lin Ling had defeated the flying Jinling with one move, which had already shocked many people. However, he wanted to defeat the most mysterious heavenly gift with one move? That was simply a fool's dream. Lin Ling didn't wait for Xueqi to speak again. His right hand had already touched the sword behind him. Seeing this, Xueqi's eyes flickered. She had touched that sword once in the Wake Dragon Palace, and it was a little strange. Of course, she was too careless at that time. She didn't think that the sword could kill her. Moreover, the sword was double-edged. It could kill both the enemy and oneself. With Lin Ling's strength, he definitely couldn't control that sword. In the end, he would be playing with fire. Lin Ling, you're too confident in yourself. I'll fulfill your wish. After killing you, I still want to go back and drink. My wine can't be cold. Xueqi was indeed the most mysterious genius. Although she was much stronger than Lin Ling, she wouldn't underestimate her opponent, nor would she reduce her aura. Terrifying world essence gushed out from her body. Treasure light clashed. That mysterious energy was extremely shocking. Moreover, her cultivation realm was also revealed. It was the 5th level of the martial immortal realm. Sure enough, she hid her strength in the Wake Dragon Palace. This woman is very strong. She has mastered the power of the realm, the power of the universe that can destroy everything. Sakura and Meng Lu had seen Xueqi before, so they knew how terrifying that woman was. There was no doubt about the strength of someone who could be invited by Emperor Qing for a night chat. Warm wine moistens the throat. Cold wine is indeed a favor. I hope you can really drink warm wine. Lin Ling held the tyrannical song sword in his right hand and the best jade talisman he had obtained from the Wake Dragon Palace in his left hand. That was an attack talisman that could increase his strength. That was because he knew that Xueqi couldn't be underestimated. If I, Xueqi, want to drink wine, Emperor Qing can't stop me. Xueqi also roared. She looked like a beautiful woman, but she was as domineering as an ambitious person. Her hands became as clear as jade, but she didn't show her talent. That was because her talent wasn't very strong. She was only at the 10th level. Her strength came from her realm. Chapter 2964. One slash to kill. Warm the wine, kill Lin Ling. When her aura reached its peak, an indescribable power bloomed from Xueqi's body, making her seem like the Azure Emperor, the Son of Heaven. The Stare of Courage. This was a type of deity's power, able to destroy any type of attack. In the distance, the third princess and the others were also watching the battlefield with grave expressions. In Qingzhou, apart from a limited number of people, it was rare to see the power of the Stare of Courage. Now, it finally bloomed in Qingzhou. The power of the Stare of Courage was domineering and could destroy the universe. In the sky, the dark clouds were all destroyed, revealing the void of the universe. However, the void of the universe also shattered like glass. Within it, a jade-like palm slapped towards Lin Ling. Flames, frost, lightning, and gales roared around the jade-like palm. That palm seemed slow, but it carried the power of the universe's laws. It instantly appeared in front of Lin Ling. Seeing this, everyone's expression changed drastically. The power of heaven and earth that was activated by that palm made their hearts palpitate. She was no longer a delicate beauty. She was simply a goddess of war, a majestic goddess of war. At this moment, Lin Ling's expression turned grave. He held the sword in his hand, and all his essence, energy and spirit surged. In addition to the power of the jade talisman, The headless elder appeared behind him, and it seemed to have merged with him. It seemed slow, but in fact, it only took an instant. No one saw Lin Ling, as everyone was attracted by Xueqi's jade-like palm. Die! Finally, a cold voice floated out from Xueqi's mouth. Her jade-like palm was dazzling, and her courage was unparalleled. Looking at the palm that covered the sky, Lin Ling shouted and slashed with his sword. The tyrant's song in his hand was dazzling, and demonic aura surged. Clang! The sound of metal colliding rang out. The five-ring city, which was originally in ruins, exploded with a shockwave. Bang bang bang! Countless people were overturned, and the weaker ones were killed by the shockwave. Meng Lu and the others were sent flying as well. They sensed Valiant's aura. That should be the stairway of courage. It was indeed as terrifying as the rumors said. However, their eyes were still glued to the front, deeply afraid that they would miss something. Crack! Finally, a clear and melodious sound resounded. A huge sword collided with the jade palm in the sky, and the sword was blocked. However, cracks quickly appeared on the jade palm, and after an entire breath of time, it was actually slashed apart by the sword. After the jade palm was broken, the sparkling and resplendent sword light immediately passed over Xueqi's neck. Xueqi's eyes froze there. Her heart rumbled. The power of rank? As for the scene in the sky, it was as if it had been frozen. Qingzhou was silent, millions of people were silent, and the entire city was shocked. Xueqi, one of the four most mysterious heavenly blessings of the Qing province, controlled the Stair of Courage and brandished her strongest attack. She originally wanted to kill Lin Ling, but at this moment, she stopped abruptly. This was like a war song, incomparably impassioned, resounding, shocking, and inspiring. However, at the most crucial moment of the performance, the strings broke, and the music ended. This was like warming wine. Before the wine was warmed, the person had already passed away. It was too sudden. The world became quiet, this scene becoming still. One sword strike, just one sword strike. Wasn't this sword strike a little too terrifying? This guy has entered the 4th place of the 9 heavenly blessings of the Qing province. After a moment of silence, Sakra's voice came out softly, but it was shocking. Hearing that, everyone in Qingzhou looked at the sky. There, the young man stood facing the wind. His blue robe was like clouds, and his long hair gently floated over his shoulders. His gaze was calm, and he maintained the posture of brandishing the sword with one hand. In front of him, Xueqi stood there lifelessly, her eyes staring at that huge sword. She suddenly wanted to say something. Perhaps, she wanted to say, "Why are you so powerful? How is this possible? Your sword has the power of rank." Unfortunately, it was too late to say anything. She finally raised her white jade-like hand and pointed at Lin Ling. Die! Without waiting for Xueqi to do anything else, Lin Ling directly slashed down from the sky. For someone who wanted to kill him, even if it was a beauty, he wouldn't be merciful because he had given her a chance before. Boom! That sword directly beheaded the #1 beauty of Qingzhou. This scene made everyone's hearts tremble. What an awe-inspiring sword! What a sharp sword! From now on, there was one less person among the 9 heavenly blessings of Qingzhou. Moreover, it was one of the most mysterious heavenly blessings. The silence finally stopped. Next, there was an uproar in the entire city. Those excited voices came from the martial god barracks, the resplendent academy, and the imperial court. Everyone was excited, and their bodies were trembling non-stop. Lin Ling had killed Xueqi, which meant that Lin Ling had officially stepped into the ranks of the top in Qingzhou. Thinking back to Lin Ling and everything else, they felt like they were dreaming. As for the leaders of the various powerhouses, their expressions changed drastically. They never expected that even the powerful Xueqi couldn't block Lin Ling's sword. Qingzhou was obviously going to change. Plop! The sovereign marquis sat on the ground powerlessly, his face incomparably pale. Even Xueqi couldn't save him? When did Lin Ling become so powerful? As for Lin Ling, he had already walked down with his sword on his back. Where is Queen Qianji? It was still the same topic, but it was mixed with a domineering tone. It was as if he was telling Qingzhou that he was treating the sovereign marquis as a slave. Who in Qingzhou was not convinced? I don't know. The sovereign marquis raised his head and replied weakly. You will know. Big brother, take him back. Lin Ling said calmly. He wanted to take the sovereign marquis away in front of Qingzhou. Lin Ling, the Empress Dowager wants you to see her. However, at this moment, an ethereal voice sounded in the sky of Qingzhou. It was like a brilliant heavenly might. Lin Ling's rise had finally alarmed the Empress Dowager. Even the third princess of the imperial court in the distance frowned at this moment. However, Lin Ling ignored the voice in the sky. Little Kunlun appeared and tied up the sovereign marquis. He took the Luo Sha thorn and the 2 stone tablets and left just like that. Lin Ling, the Empress Dowager wants you to see her. The voice in the sky suddenly became angry. Lin Ling finally stopped and looked at the sky calmly. However, in the next moment, his eyes became cold like a storm. Let the Empress Dowager remember that I, Lin Ling, will take revenge for the rainforest sacred land. If she wants to see me, she can come here herself. After saying that, Lin Ling moved forward again. Boom! This sentence and this action once again alarmed Qingzhou. Let the Empress Dowager come here herself. This was provoking the Empress Dowager in front of Qingzhou. How dare you? In the sky, the ethereal voice was obviously even angrier. Talk more and I'll kill you. Lin Ling did not even look at the sky and continued moving forward. However, his voice seemed to come from the depths of hell, causing the voice in the sky to become silent. This guy has grown to the point where he can face the great Qing God dynasty. At this moment, everyone's breathing quickened as they watched Lin Ling leave step by step. Today, Lin Ling had left them with too much shock. After Lin Ling disappeared, Qingzhou continued to be in an uproar. Although Lin Ling was brave, everyone knew that the impact and consequences of Lin Ling today had only just begun. It was fermenting and was about to turn into a storm. Chapter 2965. I'll give you a chance. What an arrogant guy. Many people couldn't calm down as they recalled the scene not long ago. They would never forget the battle today. Rumble. At this moment, there was a loud rumble in front of them as dust rose into the sky. Everyone saw that Lin Ling was moving forward with the 2 stone tablets. Along the way, he destroyed the city wall of 5 Ring City as if Lin Ling wanted to get rid of everything that stood in his way. The city wall of Green State had a long history and was probably tens of millions of years old. Now that it was destroyed by Lin Ling didn't put the great Azure God dynasty in his eyes again. This guy. The third princess and the rest gasped. In the depths of the great Azure God dynasty, the hidden experts were enraged. Haha, as expected of second brother. Sakura laughed excitedly and caught up with Lin Ling. Lin Ling walked out of Green State, passed through the chaos and finally arrived at the sacred ground of the rainforest. Bang bang! 2 stone tablets fell from the sky and shocked the sacred ground of the rainforest. The Sunbone and Realgar were trapped in the stone tablets. At this moment they weren't dead, so they knew what was happening outside. However, they didn't expect Lin Ling to be so powerful now. He barged into Green State and brought them back. After this, no one in Green State would dare to save them. Thinking that they would be trapped in the stone tablets for the rest of their lives, they wished they could die immediately. Luo Shaxiai, it's your turn. Lin Ling looked at the Luo Sha thorn and spat out a sentence indifferently. Plop. Luo Shaxiai was originally standing, but he knelt down in fear and kept kowtowing. Lin Ling, please spare me. I was wrong, I know I was wrong. It's too late. Lin Ling started to form barriers with both hands to seal Luo Shaxiai. He had already shown mercy to the latter. If Luo Shaxiai didn't seek death and let Realgar destroy the sacred ground of the rainforest, Luo Shaxiai would definitely be alive now. You must be regretting it. Barriers landed on Luo Shaxi's body, making him tremble. However, he kept nodding. How could he not regret it? Originally, he didn't need to suffer such torment. He only needed to avoid Lin Ling forever. Unfortunately, he was courting death. With Sunbone and the others accompanying you, you won't be lonely anymore. Without waiting for the Luo Sha thorn to speak any more nonsense, Lin Ling bluntly blasted out the final barrier, completely sealing the Luo Sha thorn. The 3 stone tablets were placed in the rainforest's sacred land, as if they were apologizing to the people of the rainforest's sacred land. As for the 3 people trapped in the stone steel, they had to endure inhumane torture every single day, every single moment, and every single breath. Lin Ling, you're a true man who dares to love and hate. Seeing Lin Ling's actions, Many people from the imperial dynasty appeared in the sky and muttered to themselves, "This is a true martial artist of my generation. You destroyed my world, so I want you to live and die here to repent." Even many experts in Qingzhou were paying attention to this scene. In their hearts, Lin Ling had already become someone who could never be provoked. Sovereign Marquis, you still have one more chance. After dealing with the Luo Sha thorn, Lin Ling looked at the Sovereign Marquis calmly. At this moment, the Sovereign Marquis was trembling all over. The previous encounter with the Luo Sha thorn had scared him. Plop! The Sovereign Marquis quickly knelt down and kowtowed. "Lin Ling, don't kill me. Please don't kill me." The sound of his kowtowing was like thunder, deafening to the ears. A large number of people had gathered around the rainforest sacred land. They looked at the Sovereign Marquis who kept kowtowing and sneered. They also didn't expect that the Sovereign Marquis of the Great Qing dynasty would kowtow to Lin Ling in front of thousands of people. It was even more embarrassing than when Lin Ling slapped him in the face. "I'll give you one more chance. Go and find Queen Qianji." Lin Ling looked down at the Sovereign Marquis and said. The Sovereign Marquis' eyes lit up, and he kowtowed even harder. He didn't know that the reason why Lin Ling didn't kill him was that he had left the Sovereign Marquis to Queen Qianji. Queen Qianji and the Sovereign Marquis had a grudge against each other. Queen Qianji had saved Lin Ling in the past, so Lin Ling wanted to repay her kindness. "I promise you that I will bring Queen Qianji back within 3 years." The Sovereign Marquis raised his head and looked at Lin Ling solemnly. "All right, I'll wait for you for 3 years." Lin Ling nodded. 3 years was sometimes like 3 days to a martial artist. Seeing Lin Ling nodding, the Sovereign Marquis was secretly surprised. As for Lord 8 and the others, they were a little confused. Was Lin Ling not afraid that the Sovereign Marquis would escape? In fact, the Sovereign Marquis had the same thought. After escaping from Lin Ling, he swore that he would never come back. "If you can find Queen Qianji, I will reward you even more." On the other hand, Lin Ling walked forward and a palm-sized bone fragment appeared in his hand. This bone fragment was mysterious and gave off a feeling of the ancient era, ancient and weathered. Roar! Everyone seemed to have heard the roar of a dragon. Bone of the dragon god? Among them, the ancestor dragon's body continued to tremble. She was the incarnation of a dragon, so she naturally felt the pressure from the broken bone. Dragon bone? The Sovereign Marquis was stunned for a moment, and his face was filled with joy. Lin Ling didn't kill him, but gave him the dragon bone? While he was still in shock, Lin Ling sneered. He had already set up a large number of enchantments around the dragon bone in his hand. Then, he slammed it into the Sovereign Marquis' chest. The terrifying power caused the dragon bone to merge into the Sovereign Marquis' body. He let out a painful roar, and his face was covered in cold sweat. However, he didn't dare to resist. In the end, the dragon bone disappeared into his body. "Okay, after we find Queen Qianji, this dragon bone is yours. Now you can leave," Lin Ling said calmly as he retracted his hand. The Sovereign Marquis stared at Lin Ling and asked, "What did you do to me?" "Nothing, I just let you have the dragon bone. You can leave." Lin Ling turned and left without explaining. This made the Sovereign Marquis' face extremely gloomy. He couldn't see through Lin Ling at all. In the end, he gritted his teeth and left. After the Sovereign Marquis left, everyone gathered around. Sakura frowned and said, "Second brother, why did you let him go? If he leaves and disappears in Jojo, it will be difficult for us to find him." Yeah. The others were also suspicious. According to Lin Ling's personality, he wouldn't make such a low-level mistake. "He can't escape from my hands." Yes. However, Lin Ling smiled faintly and said, "The main reason why I let him find Queen Qianji is that I'm not happy. 3 years later, if he can't find her, the dragon bone will explode and his soul will be destroyed." At the end of his sentence, Lin Ling's eyes flashed coldly. How could he let the Sovereign Marquis go so easily? In fact, when the dragon bone entered the Sovereign Marquis body, the Sovereign Marquis was already under Lin Ling's control. No matter where he was, Lin Ling could sense him. In fact, with just a thought, Lin Ling could turn the Sovereign Marquis into ashes. This was because Lin Ling had already set up a powerful enchantment around the dragon bone. This was a type of enchantment called the Gue Water Fong Array. It gathered thousands of enchantments and was extremely powerful. You're tuning in to the Xueqi's Martial Arts Saga YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.